Okay, so we are live. Chubby's on with the first post over here. So we are here today with Jason Vey of Elf Layer Games, and he's done a bunch of work for Troll Lord Games, and probably some other stuff too. And Goodman Games. We were just talking about that. You did
Eden
Empire of the East
Studios,
for
Palladium
them.
Books.
Eden Studios. Yeah, I knew that.
I worked
Palladium as well. Oh,
yeah,
okay, cool.
I started with Palladium actually, and I worked on the unit source book for Doctor Who.
Oh, cool.
7. Tons of. I tell everybody I'm the most successful game designer you've never heard of.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Well, it's interesting. Like after we had met, like we met in person at I think Page 2 years ago. I think that was the first time I met you. And
Hey, there's Heather. Hi,
then,
Heather.
then I started seeing your name everywhere on things. That's why I saw your name on Empire of the East. I was like, wait a minute, he did this. So that was pretty interesting. So also with us today, we got Stan Ducato, Troll Den Painting. Next to him, Mike Saxton with Thunderstruck Workshop. And down below me, we got Jason, not from his normal secret location, but a remote secret location this time. And he looks absolutely thrilled about it. So,
yes, I'm sitting uncomfortably cross-legged on the bed with crappy internet and a camera that doesn't stay in focus. So,
perfect. Perfect. We'll see how long that wonderful hotel internet
that's
lasts.
right. Sticking around as long as we can.
So what man, I got a bunch of stuff. I got a few things to show off this week. But as far as gaming, just did a normal weekly Shadow Dark thing. Yeah, Jason coming as live from the Ramada Inn. Yeah.
True by Hilton at Crossgate Mall in Albany. Feel free to drop by.
Oh, he's giving away his location now. If anybody's nearby, stop in.
It's so secret anymore.
Definitely not a secured location.
No,
Not
I'm
anymore.
Not too worried about it.
Not anymore. I'm sure the front desk will keep all the
riffraff away.
Sure.
We're here to see Jason. Who?
So yeah, we did our normal weekly game, which is currently Shadow Dark. Did that. I think that was a good time. We cleared up a few smaller quests, I guess, some things running around. Did some of that, scored a bunch of gold, and they went carousing early on and got a level up. That was some fun time. I got this stuff. I remember I backed this stuff. Stan, you might have to help me out with the Kickstarter because this wasn't the main Kickstarter, but I picked this up.
Oh yeah,
this was something else. This was like it was for another thing, Creeping Darkness here, and then this is why I really backed it. Was for this 5 Go Quackers and Duckington Abbey because I really wanted this module. And this is for Dragonbane. And this was part of another Kickstarter, something with Mervalde or something.
Something like that.
It was.
Yeah.
And
there was a setting book
in there.
Was the other part of it.
Yeah, and this is all that I got. And I got this because Stan said that this one and this one. I think you said that these two were really good.
No, I ran
not that one. This one here?
Yeah.
Nope. No, I ran Shadows over Gloomshire, which they
Shadows over Gloomshire. Oh, I got that one too. That one came early.
Yeah.
That one came early.
That was already out.
That was already out. Right. So these 3 just arrived. And then you guys will appreciate this, but I finally got my 3rd package from Limithron, and I got the big like 4 foot by 3 foot hex water map for that. So I was waiting for that. So that's going to be exciting. if and when, I can run a pirate game, whenever that happens. But yeah, that's what I got. Some of these modules are pretty cool. They come with some maps and like character sheets and all sorts of stuff. They're really well put together. So
Have you
that's
looked
fun.
at the 5 Go Quackers yet?
I flipped through it quick. Yeah, it's full of duck jokes and all that stuff. Like all the names of the characters are all, very jokey. The whole story is very, very jokey. I mean, it's just
Just when
It's
we
just
looked
full
at
of jokes.
when the Kickstarter first launched, you and I was like, hey, it's Dragon Seed. And you were like, that thing, kind of not really feeling it. And then I started looking at it, and then I wasn't really feeling it. And then I was like, I'm going to back it anyway. So mine arrived yesterday. I just wasn't home to get it.
No, Chubby. There's the duck is one of the races in the game, or ancestries, or I don't know what they call them in Dragonbane. But yeah, they're so they don't have any like special abilities and all that stuff. But it's it's good stuff. So, Stan, how about you? What have you been up to?
I didn't get much this week. I think I bought like 2 miniatures and a couple paints. That was about it for products. And then I did play. I played in our second edition Ravenloft game Friday night.
Nice.
Played another session of that, and then
Cool.
Sunday I ran my Cast Crusades campaign. So
Nice.
good.
Yeah, I've heard story that Jason Vey is also a fan of second edition over first edition. So he's
Very
totally
much.
with you guys.
I wouldn't
and
say
not me,
over
so.
first edition. I love first edition. I just have said that some of my best memories of gaming in my entire life have been related to second edition AD&D.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
have great memories of playing that version of the game. So
These guys get on my case. I'm not a second edition guy, so
Yeah, I don't
they gang
I
up
don't
on me.
I don't have shelves of second edition. I have entire bookcases of second
Yeah.
edition.
nice.
Yeah,
That's
including printing stuff out that
oh yeah,
never
and-
was published and all that stuff.
no, I
Got a ton of it.
I was showing them last week. I found that all the Volos guides from Forgotten Realms are
Oh, very cool.
so they're either very expensive or just PODs. And I have got a binder, and I'm like, I could just buy the PDF and bind them, which was a real pain in the ass after I realized I had to cut all of these by hand with my paper cutter and get the line up right for this.
mess with
Some
it.
of them didn't quite line up properly, but we got it done. It cost me probably $30 to make them all versus about $200 to buy them all. So
Yeah.
You can't see my bookshelves because they're over here, but we have a guy in our gaming group who's relatively new to gaming. He's in his early 40s, but he's just dipping his toes into tabletop role playing. So we're kind of taking him under our wing. His name's Kevin, great guy, but he has only ever played 5e. And the other not this past Friday, but like 2 weeks ago, he was asking about goofy magic. He needed a goofy magic item for some campaign he's in. So I brought down all 4 volumes of the second edition Encyclopedia Magica and just dropped them on the table. And I went, have fun. Like
those are some of my favorite books. You can find so much cool stuff to add that the players have never heard of.
I have a couple of those somewhere.
Yeah, that's always good to try and pull stuff that that's not the same, the normal magic items that everybody sees all the time.
Then as he was getting ready to leave that night, I handed him my 5th print OD&D box set and said, this will really blow your mind. Like,
Yeah.
This is original Dungeons and Dragons. This is what D&D was when it started in 74. And he just sat there and just stared at it like he couldn't. Yeah.
Yeah. That's what mine is also a 5th printing that I have. It's just really cool to have. It's a nice piece of history.
Last printing that had hobbits and ents.
Yeah. I'd like to get, an older, the wood grain, box at some point, but
I have a
really,
reproduction.
really
I have
high.
a very, very accurate reproduction of the wood grain that I put together that you would be hard pressed to figure it out that it's not real.
Cool. Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, Matt Tapp with Barrows and Borderlands. He makes his box sets with the wood grain and stuff, and so he's got that there, and he kind of
Yep,
does
that
it.
looks exactly like what I did. That's you know
Yeah.
what that is? That's contact paper that you can get at the Dollar Tree. Yeah.
It's cool stuff. So
Yeah.
it's cool. It looks cool. But one day maybe I'll get some. What Mike, you do any gaming this
So
week?
no gaming this week because I ended my Shadow Dark after that, after the Citadel, and we're handing it over to Pete. But Pete had something come up and had to be in Buffalo Monday morning, so they went Sunday night. So we didn't play this week.
So next week he's starting.
So listen, I told you the story about how when I switched away from my second edition campaign, half of my group left because they didn't want to try Deadlands. They didn't want to play these other games. And
yeah, it's unfortunate too, but
so they invited me. They were like, hey, if you're not playing, we're running our game this week. If you want to stop by. And I said, sure, I'll stop by. And everybody at that table is guys, some of them that had just left my game. One of the guys I haven't seen in 35 years, but he used to play with us back in the early 90s, late 80s. So I went over there and I ended up sitting there for the whole session with him, and we got talking about it. And I told him come June I was going to start up my 2-week campaign, and somehow I went from 4 players to 9 players with 3 guys on standby now.
Wow, that's awesome.
Nice.
My game in June starts with 9 players right now. It could change before June, but
wow.
Yeah. So
wow, that's awesome. Congrats. I'm glad that worked out for you.
I didn't get anything new this week, but I do have some eBay stuff coming. Been
Nice.
finishing up my Van Richten's guides. Ravenloft. So the only one I have left to get is the Vistani one, and that one's generally going for about $100. So
yeah,
I just, I'm patient. I'll wait. It might take me a year to find it, but I'll find that steal on eBay when somebody puts it up. Buy it now for $50 or something, and I'll snag it.
I'll look when I go to WizardCon. Remind me.
Okay.
When I go at the end of the month, I'll look and see if I see some of that stuff.
You'll look for 2E stuff.
So yeah, absolutely. I'll pay cash for it like after the close of the convention. I won't, do it in public where anybody can see me, but somebody will take a picture and be like, look, I see he's buying 2E stuff.
Other than that, no.
Yeah. All right. Well, we'll see that stuff from eBay next week, hopefully.
Hopefully.
How about you, Mr. Elf Lair Games? You got any gaming in this week, or?
I did, yeah. Well, as far as what I got this week, nothing tabletop, but I got this.
Nice.
Yeah.
1942, awesome game.
For ColecoVision.
Yeah, that's awesome.
That's what it right there is my ColecoVision right there.
That is awesome.
That's what I got this week. But I just wrapped up this round. I have an Age of Conan game that I've been running for, good Lord, it must be like 15 years now. And these days I'm using Wasted Lands to run it. And I wrapped up this round of it just a couple weeks ago. And then Friday I'm running another Conan game with my Friday group, which is using the new official Conan RPG rules. So 2 Conan games with 2 different rule systems.
That's Mythic Games?
Monolith.
Monolith.
Right. Yeah.
Monolith. Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's quite good. I was not a fan. I'm, as anybody who knows me knows, I am a rabid Robert E. Howard fan. I have 3 shelves full of Robert E. Howard books over there, something like that. So I'm just a ridiculous fan of Robert E. Howard and Conan especially. I was not a fan of the Modiphius Conan RPG at all. I thought
the 2D.
Yeah,
what was it? Was it the mechanics, or
yes?
Just
it was 2 things. It was the mechanics. I thought the mechanics were kind of the worst sort of leave the dice on the table while everybody sits around to figure out what you want to do with the momentum you build up on your dice, sort of. And it was slow to a crawl. It was painful to deal with. And my group went through the character generation, just the character generation, which was a life path system. Every single character ended up with minor magic in a Conan game.
Wow.
And
Yeah.
everybody at the table was like, "Can we just keep playing your game? We don't want to do this." So I didn't like the
Yeah.
Modiphius version at all. The source material was great. I have the books and I use them for source material. This new one though is it's pretty fan. I mean, it's not perfect, but it's probably the best Conan game I've seen official come down the pipe.
Really?
Yeah, it's
I was like hesitant to look at it or get it just because there's been numerous Conan games kind of have come out, and they've all been like like what so
Yeah.
and
The,
like 2D20 I just wasn't a fan, but
right. Yeah. No, this one it's you have 4 attributes, I think, and everything's an attribute check in it. What they call skills are more like special abilities that you pick up. Most of them, the vast majority of them, are combat related.
sure.
And it's really simple, really straightforward, a lot of fun. The sorcery system is unique. It doesn't have any sort of corruption mechanic, which you would expect there would be. But instead, you kind of have to hurt yourself to use magic. So you'll spend points, or you'll spend stamina, which is like a player agency mechanic, like a fate point or something like that.
I like that. Yeah.
To cast your spells. So there's a different kind of cost. But Stevie, I should have played Hyperborea. I would play Hyperborea, except that if I'm going to choose my own game to play, it's going to be my game, not somebody else's. So I use Wasted Lands when I run. But we all wanted to try the new one, and it's really really good. We're having a lot of fun with it. So
that's cool. I'll have to check it out. We've had a few experiences with the 2D20 system, not Conan directly, but Jason and I played in a Fallout game, and it was okay. It was the GM was loony.
Haven't tried this yet.
And then we played the Star Trek Adventures game with a group, and it was like the GM and one of the players were like on one tangent and we were on like a different thing, and so we were like very very opposed like groups to each other, and it just wasn't a good time.
The 2D20, the real problem that I had, and again, I have not had experience with the system outside of Conan, so it could be completely different in other games. The real problem I had was the momentum and doom mechanic. Everything in that game is I made my roll, and now I've generated X number of momentum, and now you're all going to sit and wait for me to figure out what I'm going to do with all this momentum that I generated.
Yeah.
And then after I've figured it all out, the GM's going to overturn half of it with his doom spends. And it just is this, every player gets their time to take an hour of back and forth with the GM, and you just lose track of the story because
it's like I'm having flashbacks to Fantasy Flight Star Wars. Like it was the same way.
Yeah, with the funny dice. The funny dice.
Yeah.
I got to say, Mike, if we're going to play a Star Trek game, there's only one Star Trek game.
Tell me he's going to pull out the FASA Prime Directive D20.
Baby.
Wow.
Nice.
That's
yeah,
cool.
we haven't played it. The group wanted to try different games, so I have a whole bunch of starter sets for different games that we were going to try, and it's just never materialized. They want to do it, but nobody wants to run it except for me, and nobody wants to put in any effort.
Yeah.
And so
that's always the problem. The nobody wants to run it problem.
Right. So that's why I'm back to running 2E. And
I do. I'll run anything. Well, just about anything.
So I will tell you, some of my group, they're loving Shadow Dark right now. Some of them really like 5E. I told them all, I'm like, hey, Shadow Dark was fun when we ran it, but it's a little light for me. You know.
I think Shadow Dark's okay. I mean, it does what it says on the tin.
Yeah,
sure.
To me, it's after playing it a little bit, I feel like it's great for doing like a little one shot or a quick adventure, but for a long campaign, I'd rather have something with more meat on it.
Right.
So just so you're aware, Jason, I've been running like a West Marches style campaign. We started with basic fantasy. That system didn't have enough, meat on the bones for everybody, so we switched to Castles and Crusades. We were going to switch to Hyperborea. There's a story there. We ended up switching to Castles and Crusades. We went with the reforged version because that's what was out. We've had some issues with that and things that I've brought up to Steven. I think you and I talked about it a little bit back in January, but so there's some stuff there, and then I don't know. We just decided that it wasn't the system for us for this game, and so we were looking around at other things, and we decided to try Shadow Dark. So that's kind of where we're at now, and we did like a 4-session thing of it, and it worked out pretty well, and so now we kind of started over, and we're on like session 3 or 4 maybe. And it's not that much. So that's kind of as far as we are. I don't know if it'll last in the long term. We'll see. We'll see what happens after a handful of level ups. If the kind of monotony will get old.
You know what? I tell a lie that I did get something tabletop this week, and it's only because we're all talking about the old school stuff in the Shadow Dark. I got my Osric Kickstarter books.
Oh, cool.
New
Cool.
Osric. So yeah,
Was yours was your books in the right direction, or
Yeah,
were they sideways?
I got the
Yeah,
portrait, not the landscape. Yeah, I actually was one of the people that was on the Kickstarter saying, "Man, if you put out a portrait version, I will back it, but I'm not going to back landscape." So fortunately he heard us all, and he went, "All right, we'll do a portrait version." So.
You know, Roger, I kind of wish in hindsight that I hadn't told you, just so I could have seen your face and your rant when you got the landscape version.
Yeah, yeah.
Because he got he ordered the landscape one, and after I told him, he didn't even realize it. So after I told him, he got a hold of them and they switched it for him.
Yeah,
But that would have been funny at least.
If it showed up, and I would have been on over here
Yeah.
saying, "What the hell is this, guys? My books are rotated."
Well, even if you freaked out when it came in, once we got on stream and you started sharing, you would have ranted about it.
Yeah, and you would have been laughing the whole time.
Oh, yeah, I
That would have been kind of epic. So, what about you, Jason? I know you're in a remote location, no longer secret, but what do you got? You got anything come in, or you got anything?
Yeah, it's all at home, so I'll show it off next week. But as is usual, like last week, I talked about all the RPG Pundit stuff that I ordered that was en route, and it arrived Wednesday afternoon. Of course, the day after.
Yeah.
And so I've got several packages at home. My Dragonsbane stuff may have arrived as well because
Cool.
my wife doesn't open the packages. The game this weekend, I had so much fun playing this weekend. If there's time, whenever we're done, once you wrap up, I go home and then Stephanie and I go out to McDonald's because I'm a big spender on my date nights. We go out to McDonald's, I get a cheeseburger, and we talk about the game. She kind of lets me, kind of rant at her for a while. So we're sitting there, and she said, "So, how did it go tonight?" And I went, "It was great." And she's like, "Wow, really?" So I told her, I gave her the whole rundown. It was as perfect a D&D night as I can remember. And I mean that honestly. We almost wiped twice, but we didn't. The clerics ran out of spells. Everybody was rolling terribly, except me, by the way, Stan. I had a great night Sunday.
Awesome. Because I didn't on Friday.
The wizards ran out of spells. The cleric ran out of spells and then got knocked down to 0. I had 2 hit points left, and then the last bad guy surrendered. A bull kicked the crap out of us. It was great. And I got the horse. We tamed a wild horse, and I claimed that. And it was like there was tension all the time because we were so close to getting wiped the whole time, but we just pulled it out. And for me, that's like the perfect adventure. We just made it. Nobody died. We worked hard and got loot. And I was like, man, it was a great time. Yeah. Sorry, hang on, hair in my mouth. We're still using Chubby's Player's Companion. Makes all the difference in the world to me. The stuff that we pulled out of that book. I don't know where the carousing tables. I don't know where you got those, but we're using like an expanded carousing table. In fact, did you get that from the
They're
Western.
from the Western Reaches
Okay,
Game Master Guide Alpha, I
Cool.
guess, or whatever it
I,
is.
I
Yeah,
really like that. You know, you got the boon or the curse, whatever it's called. You know,
yeah, I forget- yeah.
I was it Randall's character? No, it was Andrew's character. You know, he ended up in jail for a week. You know, because he pissed the Duke off. Meanwhile, I earned a major favor from the Duke, and you know, Andrew looks at me at one point. He goes, "So, I mean, you're going to use your favor to get me out of jail, right?" And I went, "No, no, man, I'm not doing that. I'm neutral. I get paid for the work I do, and I'm definitely going to hang on to that favor for something later on down the road."
Yeah, Shadow Rim definitely seems fun. I definitely want to run it.
Yeah.
And Paul, we'll talk about this more on another episode. But no, it is not. It is not a less boring. It's just as boring. It's the same. They've made some changes and stuff. But we'll probably talk about it on another episode. We'll see.
But anyway, I have no goodies to show off. I will show them off next week. But it was a great weekend, and now I'm in Albany, which is a city I freaking hate.
So
But I'll be going home
man.
tomorrow evening. So, well, I mean,
So-
really, I could have said it's a city, and I hate it. So
Yeah.
there, because
Hey, while
I'm
you're
not a city.
there, I don't know where in Albany you are in relation to where it is, but look up Zombie Planet. It's a gaming store.
Oh, yeah.
I've been there.
and that's
Roger and I've been there.
George Vasilakos, who owns Eden Studios.
Cool. Yeah, I didn't know he was the
Oh,
owner.
cool.
Yeah.
That's where I got my Assassin's Creed board game. As a matter
Yes.
of fact.
Yeah.
Yeah, Brotherhood of
I remember
Venice.
that. Yeah, it's a cool place. I try and stop maybe like every other time I go out there. It's about an hour and a half from me.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's 2 hours for me. So.
Well, you got
I
you got
only come out here when I
excuses.
have to.
You seem to have
So-
excuses to not go to Millennium.
no, I was busy that weekend. I had to
I know,
I had to go to the thing. Maybe this Saturday. Edgelord, on this awaiting Shadow Sun, I actually got some Shadow Sun news. I was talking to Chubby, and so Chubby, I don't know if you guys know, but Chubby Funster has a Patreon, and it's pretty cool. He puts a lot of the stuff that he's working on there. I'm gonna put the link in the chat. That's his thing, and he told me that I could share this with you guys. So I'm gonna see if I can get this to work. But let's
Can
see.
you post that Patreon link towards the end of the show? If
Yeah,
I hit it now, it's
absolutely.
gonna kill my internet.
Can you guys see that?
Yep.
Yes.
Yeah.
That is the preliminary, I guess, beta or whatever artwork for the new printing of the Shadow Sun, and he's splitting
Nice.
it into a game master book and a player's book. So
Nice.
this is the art, not final. Obviously, there's going to be some changes and stuff, but this is kind of what they're working with. And he's posting stuff like this on his Patreon. I checked it out. He's got some cool stuff on there. He's got some playtest stuff. It's like $5 a month. And I really want to run an in-person Shadow Sun game. I want to use the playtest stuff that he's got. So maybe we can do a game and then we can come here and talk about it. And Stan can watch from the corner, I guess, because he's 6
I'll pout
hours
in the
away.
corner.
Unless you want to come down, Stan.
I could road
You're
trip it.
welcome to come down. I think Jason Vey is closer to Central New York than you are.
Stan, you're retired. What else you got
It's
to
a
do?
hike for me.
That's true.
Stan's up in the North Country. He's you're 6 hours, Stan.
Yeah.
I think I'm more than that from Central
Okay.
New York. Yeah, I think I'm a
Six.
good clip more than that. Because I'm in southwestern PA. So,
Oh, okay. Yeah. You're in the far
I'm in-
dark corner.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah.
I looked at a house out that way.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, transfer. It's a very small place. I don't know if you know where it's at, but
I bitch about Pittsburgh all the time about how much I hate it here, but it's honestly a pretty cool place to live. It's
So-
oh, you're in Pittsburgh?
I'm in Pittsburgh, yeah.
Well, that's cool. My
So
wife lived there.
you're
for
not
3
that
years.
far from Buffalo.
I am. Well, actually, no. Yeah, 3-4 hours from Buffalo, something like that.
So
Buffalo's not too far from Erie, so
Buffalo's 2 hours from me in Syracuse,
yeah.
and then Rogers only another hour.
So
Yeah. right on the way. Pick Mike up
There you
on your
go.
way through.
Six,
Come on.
7 hours. That's all.
We'll make this work.
Yeah. Nice. Yeah, Edgelord apparently is approves of Pittsburgh.
Yeah, my wife loved it, man. She
Yes,
said it was
I-
a great
yeah.
town to live in.
It's a pretty cool place. Yeah, it's not as cool as it used to be back in the 90s. There was a lot more like subculture and stuff going on here in the 90s, but it's gotten a lot more corporate since then. But
Yeah.
yeah, it's a cool place to live.
So check out Chubby's stuff. Chubby's stuff is awesome. We love Chubby Funster stuff. All of his stuff, I think, for Shadow Dark is fantastic. Shadow Rim looks great. Dark Sun really wasn't my thing. I mean, it was a cool thing. I kind of liked, looking at it and all that. It was fine, but like after seeing like his Shadow Sun kind of stuff come out, it really makes me wanna
Actually
run
kind of with
something
you,
like
and
that.
I take guff from people for this all the time. I was not a big fan of Dark Sun. I was not a big fan of Planescape. To me, both of those settings felt like they were designed by corporate committee. They didn't feel like settings that were built through like Dragonlance. Yes, it was created so that they could write novels and shit, but it was also created like the first 3 Dragonlance novels were the campaign that they actually played.
Yeah.
The problem I have with it though is like you mentioned Dragonlance. It's a horrible setting to play in because all of their adventures, like you just said,
A railroad. Yeah,
it's a railroad
book,
following through it. If they just made it a sandbox,
Yeah,
give it a
it's
different
fun to play on your own with your own adventures, but it's a lot like playing Star Wars during the Rebellion era.
Yeah.
Like no matter how cool your characters are, guess what? Luke Skywalker gets to blow up the Death Star and redeem Darth Vader.
Right.
So Dragonlance feels a lot like that. Like no matter how cool, and Forgotten Realms feels a lot like that too. No matter how awesome your characters are, they're not going to be Drizzt. They're not going to be Elminster. They're not going to be Lady Minstrel. So a lot was a problem with a lot of the settings that WotC put out in the 80s and 90s, that they were supported by these robust fiction lines, which made you feel worthless because all the meta plot got to be done by cooler characters than you. But that said, Greyhawk and Forgotten Realms and Dragonlance felt lived in when you played them because they were games that they were campaign settings that were created through play.
Yeah.
Dark Sun and Planescape, to me, and I could be wrong about this entirely, but to me it felt like WotC said, design me a campaign, or not WotC, TSR said, design me a campaign setting, and that's what came out. That's what they felt like to me. I could be wrong about the way they originated. I didn't look into them that deeply, but that's how it felt to me.
I never got into Planescape. I actually picked up the box set this last year, and it's the only Planescape product I own. And I still haven't dove into it to read it. But
I got a bunch of it as an adult, but when it came out, I wasn't interested in it.
I just played Planescape Torment in like the mid 90s.
Yeah, I played that.
Whatever that was.
The idea
I think
of
everybody played that.
Planescape is awesome if you're going to use it as a means from which you can jump from setting to setting.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
The idea of Sigil is cool.
Yeah,
I'll give it that.
Like,
listen, I like that idea.
I'm a huge Ravenloft fan. I mean, I've got the three main 2E box sets, tons and tons of supplements, lots of adventures. But the problem I have with Ravenloft is, like I just asked Takato about it, I've never actually run a campaign that's based out of Ravenloft. It's always been the Mist take them in, they do an adventure, they get out.
And I'll tell you why. Because I have a buddy who's like an ace Ravenloft GM. Yeah. He ran a Ravenloft game where he let me play a native character, and I played a what the hell are they called? The Half Vistani.
Yeah.
And it lost all of its fear factor because I was playing a character that was part of the Mists and that knew what was going on. And so bringing other characters in from other campaign settings is the way that you keep the horror of Ravenloft intact.
The part that never sat well with me. I love the setting, but the idea of the domain and like the original stuff with the core and some of the islands. Mm-hmm. You played Night of the Walking Dead, first level adventure set on the island of Serange. You're on an island surrounded by mist. When you finish that adventure, the mist is going to come in and surround you. and you're going to appear in another island or back in the core lands or somewhere, and all your travel is going to be, I don't know. It just seems
I
a
hear
little
that. Yeah.
contrived.
And there is a way, at least in the core domains, to travel from domain to domain.
Right.
But yeah, a lot of it does seem like, oh, well, the DM wants to run in, Cartacus. So the
Right.
Mists are just going to dump you in Cartacus.
Yep.
Yeah, I get that. That's a totally valid issue with Ravenloft. I can see. I never really thought about it, but totally valid. Yeah.
The way I try and treat it these days is I take something of Ravenloft that I really like, and I place it in my world. And if I'm playing Forgotten Realms, I might even place it in Forgotten Realms. And there's something going on in this area, and the players have their adventure to deal with, and then the Mists depart, and they go on with their life.
I'll tell you what, my DM, who's also my best friend, who's the great Ravenloft GM, he ran us through Rime of the Frost Maiden in 5e, and he decided to cross it over with Ravenloft. And he dumped in a whole bunch of things where what was going on in the north, Ravenloft was coming in and trying to take Icewind Dale, suck it in because of what the Frost Maiden was doing. So we had all these weird incursions where we'd go back, and I was playing a whatchamacallit, the elves that are from the oh shit. My brain is not. Did you see the Book of Vile Darkness, the D&D movie Book of Vile Darkness? The chick, what is she in that? The female, the leader of the.
Damn it!
Yeah,
I don't remember now. I did see that movie.
Yeah, they're the elves that are from the Shadowfell.
yeah.
Oh, the Shadow Kai.
Shatterkai, that's it. I was playing a Shatterkai warlock, and every time Ravenloft melted over into the real world, I had that thing where the Shatterkai all look like they're rotting undead.
Yeah.
My character would suddenly be like this horrific, rotting looking, and all the other player characters would flip out, and it was great. He was a master. So if you play a Ravenloft campaign where something so bad is happening that in the prime material that the dark powers take interest, and they're going to try to, that raises the stakes, because now your characters are trying to keep part of the Forgotten Realms from getting sucked into Ravenloft.
Yeah. No, and that stuff, like, I think is great. I think if you were like what Mike was saying, like if you're gonna like be in like Ravenloft and have like jump from like domain to domain, I don't know, that's like a weird kind of thing. Like I think it needs to be inserted here and there, like where you have this like intersection between the planes or something. Or whatever.
I'm not saying it wouldn't be. I'm not saying it wouldn't be
Doesn't bother
fun.
me, though.
Yeah,
Sure.
like I was talking with Ducato and his DM. That's the way they're doing it. They're playing through the Grand Conjunction. But that's where it always caught me off guard was the Grand Conjunction. If you order them by level, they're going to be out of order. But you're going to start with Night of the Walking Dead, and then you're going to go to the second one is in the desert. So you're basically going from an island that's like Louisiana, and then you're going to be dropped in the desert. And it's like, how do you get from there to there, other than the mist just magically transport
the mist just go, or maybe there's like a higher power trying to like help or guide you to the next ley line type of thing or what. I don't know, you know what I mean? It's otherwise it's very linear. Hey, you're gonna go from here.
I think it makes it actually kind of convenient though obviously it's a little contrived, but like it's also convenient for the game master because
definitely.
like how would I get them from that island to the desert or without it making no sense? So I think I think with any, like, having played a lot of Call of Cthulhu, with any horror, you got to buy into it a lot, and and so sometimes you just got to be able to, like, the Mist. That's what the Mist. I've used the Mist a bunch of times. I used them in my home campaign and one of my campaigns, and I brought the party to. We did the Curse of Strahd adventure, or my version of it. And ironically, one of my players played a Shadowkai in that too. So when they showed up there, he looked like hell. And they had to give him like a hat of disguise because he would have just been shot by every town guardsman when
I
they
had
tried
a
to
wooden
get into
mask
town.
that I wore.
Yeah, he was awful looking. They were like, "What the heck's wrong with you?" And they're like, "Oh, it's how I normally look." They're like, "Good Lord." But yeah, it was great.
We played Curse of Strahd, and it was ridiculous because by the time we got to the end, we punked Strahd in like 4 rounds flat. It was ridiculous. Like he showed up and started to give his speech, and immediately it was like fireball, fireball, shatter, shatter, lightning bolt, call lightning, fireball, fireball.
Yeah.
He tried to use.
Yeah,
He tried to turn invisible or something. I think he tried to turn invisible, and my wife was playing a druid, a 10th level druid, and she went, dispel magic, and she had to make a caster check, and she rolled a natural 20, so he was visible, and then we were like shatter, shatter, fireball, like
Yeah.
I ran a combination of Curse of Strahd and then the third edition. Was it? I don't know if I have it out here anymore. But it was like
Expedition
Yeah.
to Castle
so
Ravenloft.
like the village of Barovia was like basically under siege from undead when they showed up, and they get to the town square. They help this one character there that's trying to help the town, and then Strahd shows up, and the NPC they just met, she was like a Dampier, so she was like a half. So he like just beats the hell out of her. I beefed Strahd way up because they were like way too powerful for him at that point when we got there in the campaign. So as the campaign progressed, one of my favorite moments of that was they meet Strahd on the road, because it tells you all the time that like he's not a guy that just hides out in the shadows. Like he'll show up. So he shows up, and one of the players says something to him in character, and then the party cleric, my friend Matt, is like, "Hey, don't aggravate him or don't make him mad." So they're like, "Okay." And then my friend Matt proceeds to lay into him with the most personal insults. And they were like, "What the hell?" And so he was like, "Oh, really?" And he just focused 100% on my friend and just killed him basically, and would have taken his body, but there was a paladin in the group, and he was able to actually strength wise, he was able to win a tug of war contest and keep his body. But to this day, we still talk about that because everybody, he was like, no, don't aggravate him, all that. And then he just, because they'd already found like the journal entries that talked about, his history with his brother's wife and all that stuff. And he like just shocked all of us. He just laid into him about it. And they were like, okay. And he just got murdered. It was great. It was awesome.
Yeah.
If you really, really want to terrorize some players with Ravenloft, run the 2E House of Strahd. So the thing with House of Strahd, it says on it for level 6 to 13, but it's not. There's 2 versions. The default one, so you have a 10th level Strahd or the updated 16th level Strahd.
Nice.
And that's what this adventure is written for.
Yeah.
You play him as the 16th level Strahd, and you're going to send a party of level 10 to 13 players in there, and they're going to be hoping they survive it.
Yeah.
That's I think you play the original one, levels 4 to 7. It's a cool adventure and it's dangerous and all that, but there's a difference between risking your 10th level character versus your 5th level character and something like, especially when you're talking.
Go ahead, finish.
Well, especially when you're talking something like Strahd that can drain 2 levels from you with a hit.
There's also a huge difference between playing it in 2nd edition and playing it in 5th edition.
Yeah,
sure. Are so ridiculously superheroic. Like I said, in Curse of Strahd 5e, we punked him.
Yeah.
Now, granted, almost every character in our party was a spellcaster of some sort, and we were like 12th level by the time we got there, and you're only supposed to be 10th. So we had 6 characters with access to 6th level spells. So that makes a difference. But still, I mean, we never would have punked Strahd like that in 2nd edition or even 3rd edition.
No. So I ran Agile mentions Astonishing Swordsman and Sorcerers of Hyperborea. I ran Curse of Strahd using Hyperborea, and I kind of used some of the 2nd edition stuff and some of the stuff from the books and just stuff from 3rd edition that I had, and I kind of threw a bunch of stuff together and did a campaign that lasted about a year, that they were going through, and it worked pretty good. I mean, we had some deaths, we had a TPK. I mean, it was I thought it worked out really well, and it was more within like the power level of
I had to beef
like 1st and 2nd edition. In 5th edition, man, I mean, even if you made them 20th level or whatever. Like I think
it was
like
15.
a party of level 10, players that are on their shit, that know what they're doing, like could just take them,
Yeah.
right away. I mean, so you'd have to just start, really, really upping his numbers to, start
right.
talking
Oh,
about like
sure.
triple his hit points or whatever, just to
we
do it.
did-
Because like
we-
Jason said, you walk up and you're like, oh, you got 3 characters that can cast fireball, and it's like, okay, whatever.
Or shatter
he's
it
done.
at using a 6
yeah.
level spell slot, which is a
Right.
noxious spell.
Yeah, you're just done. You can just anything that's in the monster manual, you just go through. It's so
My biggest problem with Curse of Strahd was we ran it. We tried to run it. Halfway through it, they had enough and decided they didn't want to play it because it was too easy. It feels like a lot of the content that they added in there is just plain old filler, just to make it a longer adventure.
yes,
You know,
exactly.
because
That's, yeah,
because the adventure was never about the
Yeah.
whole domain. It was about saving Irina and confronting Strahd, and it's
Yeah.
lots of people play the original one and they can run it in a long session.
Yeah.
You get your friends together and you have a full day of gaming and you go play Isaac Strahd and and that's it. But
Yep.
this is like really drawn out. There's a guy out there that does a third party thing with it that's that fleshes out. I forgot what his name is, but I got on his Patreon and he was releasing the stuff and when I first read it, it looked really cool. But he did like a video game aspect to the bosses where they all had like multiple tiers. You'd beat down so many hit points and then their abilities would change and they'd
Yeah.
get stronger. And even doing that, my players still walk through it. And so by the time they dealt with the 3 hags, they were like, this isn't even fun. Let's just
We thought it was a cakewalk. We still had fun with it, but that's basically because we have a great GM and our group can have fun with just about anything. but-
well,
I can totally see, yeah, if you're looking for a real challenge, pretty much they don't exist in 5th edition for characters. I mean,
Right.
Yeah.
Stephen Kennedy here said, I don't think death comes easily in 5th edition, and that's absolutely true. Like it's really freaking hard to die
Yeah.
in 5e. And I've seen people tell me I'm crazy about that. Oh, it's so easy. And it's not easy to die because you have to fail 3 death saves, which each one is a 50-50 shot.
Right.
So it's a minimum of 3 rounds, and that's if you roll really bad. And even then, if you have a cleric or a druid in your party with access to 0 level spells, guess
yeah,
what?
that's it.
Yeah.
Bang! You don't have
Yeah.
to make death saves anymore.
Right.
So it's
Right.
almost impossible to kill players. And when I hear about people having TPKs in 5th edition, I'm like, what were you doing wrong?
It gets
Yeah.
even
Yeah,
worse
screw
when you start using the stuff from like Xanathar's and Tasha's, because we had a player that played a grave cleric out of Xanathar's, and a lot of people, like most of my group, didn't seem to understand how they work. Well, when you read them, their healing, when you're at 0 hit points, their healing doesn't get rolled. It's max healing every time.
Yeah.
And they can do spare the dying at range.
Right.
So when you got a guy in there that can spare you from range and can heal you to max healing with when you go down, where's the danger in there?
Right. Exactly. They don't even
Ranged healing is the worst.
Yeah.
As a game master, I hated it. Like
Yep.
it was so. Oh
Yeah.
God,
Yeah.
I hated it.
Edgelord said he wants to convert Curse of Strahd to Shadowrun. I'd
I'd
consider
run
it. We talked about this a little bit when
Oh, he said he meant
he's saying
Shadow
Dark. He
Shadow
meant
Dark.
Shadow Dark. Well, you know what? You know
Shadowrun
what?
would
Screw
be
that.
interesting,
Listen,
though. I would
I-
play
so-
Strahd and
So
Shadowrun.
there's have you heard of Blacklight, Jason?
No, I have not.
It's Vic. So it's this guy. He made the Shadow Dark kind of thing. Yeah, Blacklight. There it is. And it's basically it's Shadow Dark, except you're like special ops or whatever, and you're like the special ops guys in like Stranger Things. You're the guys that go through the portal with like the
Okay,
night vision and
okay.
all that.
Yeah.
And so like for the
Except you
torch
don't have to be
mechanic,
stupid.
yeah, right. The torch mechanic, it's like it's a battery thing. So like that's your night vision or whatever.
right.
So you got the timer, you use that. And he says in there like you could go into like any kind of fantasy world or like whatever you want. And so I thought about running that and opening up a portal and having like special ops guys go into Ravenloft, into I6 and they're like, oh, there's this evil that's trying to merge with the modern world or whatever, and they got to go in and, you know, limited ammo, or I mean, not limited, but I mean, whatever they can carry, right, for ammo. So they kind of got to be careful with that, and like, you know, and then go in and like, you know, try and, you know, deal with this guy that's, you know, got magical powers basically, or what, you know what I
Right,
mean, and
right.
undead and all that. I think it'd be a blast.
That
You
would be
know-
a lot of fun. Yeah.
Mike Shea has a video about running i6 Ravenloft with Shadow Dark because he ran it, and he talks about all the changes he made to it and how it worked. He said it worked great in Shadow Dark.
Don't encourage him, Agile. Yeah,
Yep.
I'm sure what, like, I think Shadow Dark is perfect for doing one shots, especially with old school modules and that stuff. And hey, Wasted Lands.
Yeah.
Hang on, let me here, hold it up. Let me get the big
Gotta flip the camera.
thing. I'm gonna flip your camera
There.
so it's the right way.
There we go.
Yeah. There you go. Wasted Lands. So we want to hear about that.
So who made that? Who wrote that book there, Jason?
That would be me.
Yeah, who's that?
That
Yeah.
would be me.
I've heard this is a good game too.
I think it is. It's what I use for my fantasy gaming.
I've heard this one's
13
okay.
Parsecs. Yeah, that's a
I've
good
heard
one.
this
Oh,
one's
yeah.
all right too. Yeah.
There we go.
Yeah, there you go.
Uses
There
the
you
same.
go. Somebody scribbled over the inside cover of mine though. But yeah, no, so yeah, no, we definitely want to talk about that. So you've had a few games in your
Everybody was talking about Hyperborea, so I was feeling like I had to.
yeah, bring it to the reason like you're here. Yeah, talk about your
Jeff's
stuff.
a great guy, and Hyperborea is a great game. So,
So you've got Night Shift, Wasted Lands,
yes,
right? And,
And,
13 parsecs.
Yeah,
And they're all in your ogres system.
correct. Yeah,
And that's, I'm gonna screw this up. It's you know, I didn't prepare. It's like old school role playing,
generic role
old school
playing
generic role playing gaming system.
engine system.
Engine
Yes.
system.
The only reason
Okay,
that's there,
close.
honestly, I came up with the an acronym or an acronym, the whatever it's called, the acronym. I came up with the meaning for it later. I really just wanted to be able to say that my games were powered by ogres,
Yeah, right.
and I figured out what it meant later.
So
yeah.
it's basically, I would say it's probably 75% compatible with most,
I'd say
80% maybe compatible,
I think
more than
even
that.
more. What I did was I took AD&D rules and codified them in a way that they weren't codified back in the day.
Yeah, so your combat is all D20.
Yeah, it's basically THACO
All that
reversed. So instead of subtracting your attack roll from your THACO to figure out what armor class you hit, you add the armor class to your attack roll and try to get 20 or better.
Yeah. Yeah.
So-
and that's kind of now people are calling that like the target 20 system, I think.
Yeah, Mike Merles has been posting about that on Twitter, and I it's funny because I sat down and actually ran the numbers on it just last night because he had shared a graphic that
Really, yeah.
talked about target 20, and the thing is, like for second edition, target 20 numbers do not line up with second edition.
No, they don't.
D&D.
And I structured my attack bonuses differently for individual character classes.
Yeah, because if you run OD&D basic, OD&D BX first edition, second edition, it's going to come out different every single one of them.
Yeah.
You know.
My system isn't. I mean, yes, it has the basic idea of your attack roll plus the armor class versus 20, but it's not purely target 20 because
Right.
I redid the statistics on my attack bonuses, and so it's a little different. It's a little different than target 20. But
He's
the
a guest, Agile. He's a
con-
guest. We'll let him slide on the beard. Sorry, go ahead.
That's fine.
I had to defend you not having a beard.
I codified D&D. So in first edition AD&D, almost all class abilities are run on percentile dice anyways. Thief skills are percentile dice. Rangers use percentiles to track. So I just made that universal, and I even added that I got rid of Vancian casting, and I use percentiles for spell casting.
Mhm.
So you have a flat percentile chance to cast a spell, which is penalized by the level of spell you're casting. 10% per level of spell. So a first level spell subtracts 10% from your casting roll, a third level minus 30%, so on and so forth. From your chance, not your roll.
Yep.
So we have that, and then the target 20 thing also works for attribute checks. If you need to make an attribute check, it's D20 plus your bonuses, and the bonuses you get a difficulty modifier from the DM based on how tough that. So a really easy task gives you plus 10 to your roll. So that's how attribute checks work. So you have the D20 check, you have the percentile check, and then I have what's called the rule of 2. And the rule of 2 is something else that was baked into AD&D.
I really like this. Yeah.
Start, but was never codified as such. If you think about it, in AD&D, like an elf would notice a secret door on a roll of 1 or 2 on a D6. If you weren't a thief and you wanted to listen for noise, you heard something on a 1 or 2 on a D6. Surprise, 1 or 2 on a D6. That's the rule of 2. Anytime the DM needs to adjudicate something that they don't otherwise have an immediate rule in front of them for, they pick a die, they throw it, and they look for a 1 or a 2. That's the rule of 2. And that's how my system works. And I went with, instead of going with the unified mechanic that's all the rage these days, I went with the 3 mechanics because I think there's an elegance there that has kind of been lost in the sense that we've all been in a situation where you're running your game and the players, their character's not immediately invested in what's going on. So they're looking in the book at something, or they're looking at their phone, or until the DM tells a player to make a check for something. And then immediately everybody's like, what's he doing? Can I make a check too? With the 3 mechanic system, if the check he's making is percentile dice, you know immediately that it's something to do with his specific character class. So that gives you an instant shorthand table for basically what's going on at any given time.
Yeah. No, I really like the rule of 2. And I like what I normally do is I'll say, like, it would be odd if, this, and then I'll have that player roll a die. And if it comes up odd, an odd number, then it happens. But obviously that's always 50-50.
Right.
So, rule
Not
of 2
always.
is kind of neat.
I
Not always, right?
I think I feel a lot like you do, Jason, when it comes to part of why I love 2E so much is because I think that there's something there that's been lost with new games. And I always use
Different subsystems.
Well, I use the thief as an example because they all want to just simplify the thief down to like, hey, roll a D6 and they can on a 1 and 3 on a D6 they do whatever they want to do. I love the fact that in second edition you make a thief and here you go, you got 60 skill points and you've got base, your class or your race modifies it here. Put your 60 points where you want it and raise the skills that you really want to focus on.
Yeah.
And at every level, you get another 30 and you can, put half of them into any single skill and raise them how you want. So if you want to be really good at sneaking around and picking pockets, you can. Or if you want to be that guy that is good at finding traps and picking locks, you can. And you really get to build them how you want. And
I also, sorry, go ahead. Sorry, I thought you were
well, and even with the non-weapon proficiencies, I don't think they give you enough points. I think it's a system that wasn't utilized enough.
Yeah.
So I actually give my players more points because they don't really break the game at all. It just gives them more, I never used it like if you don't have swimming doesn't mean you can't swim.
Right.
It means that when Steve throws you in that raging river, you have a chance to survive where the other guy doesn't.
Right. It's like just because you're not a thief doesn't mean you can't try to sneak up on somebody.
Right.
It just means that the thief moves with absolute silence.
Right.
You are quiet enough that they don't catch you coming up on them.
I see new games. I don't think they really capture that. They they're like, oh, the thief's got a one die roll better chance than the average player, but everybody can do it. And it just seems like.
And what I do in my games, I have an optional skill system, which is actually core in 13 parsecs. It's not as optional, but I have and my skills work like class abilities. They're percentile based.
Okay.
So, and they're based off of attributes. And I think your core is, it's like your base is double the associated attribute or something like that. And then it improves by like 5 or 10% every level. But that's how I do skills in there. But yeah, I totally agree with you that those are a great way to just add a little something to your characters and make it. Giving a thief percentile skills makes them unique. It makes them stand out. It makes them not, And what I do in my game is that there's a hierarchy. So if you don't, like, for example, if you're a thief, if you're not a thief and you want to sneak up on somebody, you can make an agility check. What happens is it works like this. The thief gets to make their move silently check. If they fail their move silently check, they still get to make an agility check. If they fail their agility check, they still get that rule of 2. So the player who's making the agility check may or may not get to back up with a rule of 2 at the GM's option. But if you have the class ability, you get that hierarchy. So you basically are getting 3 opportunities to make what you're trying to do work, which I think really makes character classes with their class abilities stand out.
Sure.
I also gave fighters something that I kind of stole this. I don't know if anybody was in on the original 5e play tests, the open play tests they did way back in the day in like 2014, whatever it was. But in the original play test, fighters had this thing where they got rid of, I don't know why, where they would always do minimal damage. Even if they missed, they would do minimal damage.
Oh,
I thought,
yeah.
you're a fighter, right? So my fighters actually have a class ability that's Master of Battle. Once per round, if they miss an attack, they can roll a percentile roll to do damage anyways. So
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't have them on this computer, but I actually still have all those playtest files because I at the time I had just got back into playing after a decade of not, and I came back, and my group that I play with now they were running a first edition game, so I got into the game. But at the time, 5e was still in development, and I signed up for the playtest, and they were sending the packets, and I'd print them out, and we'd look at them, but we weren't actually playing it. We were like, oh, this looks neat, and I tell everybody that original starter set, if you use just those basic rules, it was a great game. If they had gone on from that instead of the direction that they went with it, it could have been great.
The original
I've got the basic.
The original 5e starter set, I think, is probably the best starter set I've ever played through. It's the highest praise I can give that edition.
Yeah,
it was a great starter campaign.
I print out the basic rules. I don't know if they're still available on the website, and those are fine. I mean, I think they're great. I think the problem with 5e is the bloat of
subclasses,
just everything,
which is what happened with third
the
edition.
subclasses, all the races, all the just everything that just got added. And there's just multitudes of stuff. Right, third edition was the same way. That's why when I ran a third edition game, we had there were people kept buying books and books and books, and everybody had especially spellcasters had 8 or 9 books in front of them of stuff they had looked up and everything. It was crazy. And then the campaign after that, I said core books only. That's it.
Yeah, you know what got me about the third edition option bloat was that pretty much every single character class in some way ended up with a version of sneak attack.
Yeah,
they were all couched in different terms, but it was all essentially this class's version of sneak attack.
Yeah. Yeah, the same can be said with 2e, though. I love 2e, but if we pretty much play our games with core, and then I will cherry pick out of the complete handbooks and even maybe out of some players' option stuff.
Yeah.
But if I were to just hand my players, here's all the complete handbooks, the racial ones and the class ones, here's the players' option stuff, go wild, your game would be out of control in no time.
Especially the players' option stuff. The players' option stuff got crazy. I really like the kits personally.
I do. I like
really
kits.
like kits and the concept of kits and how they worked.
The problem I find with it is I have 2 players at my table that love to play fighters. And the last game we played, I did let them take the kits, and I said, here's the books, and we were going to try it out and see how it worked. Well, both of them, fighters, played soldiers. And we were playing in a campaign where they were like swashbucklers and whatever else, and it didn't really fit. But they picked it because they got a free weapon specialization each.
Right.
And then the one guy decides to pick out of the Elven book the Sylvan Elf. Sylvan Elves hate everybody else. They don't go into dungeons. They hate going underground. They will not get on a boat.
Yeah.
They don't wear heavy armors. Right. So he's playing. So he shows up with a fighter. He's like whining about, I need to get plate mail. I'm like, dude, your Sylvan Elf isn't going to wear plate mail. How are you getting on the ship with these guys? What happens when they go into a dungeon? And he's like, don't worry about it. We'll just hand wave it. I'm like, that crap's done.
Yeah, that's kind of a player problem right there.
Yeah, it is. It is.
Yeah, guys. Go like all the streams. So we're paired on a bunch of channels today. So if you're not on my channel, please to like, share, subscribe. Ducato is streaming to his channel. Please, like, share, subscribe there. Mike, Thunderstruck Workshop, he's simulcasting over on his channel. So like, share, subscribe there. And Jason, we're also on
On my YouTube. Yeah.
On your YouTube. Is that Jason Vey or is it
It is
Elf Lair?
Hang on. Yeah, I lost my mouse. My mouse isn't working. Shit, there it is. Okay. Hang on, let me find it and I'll tell you.
No problem. But yeah, whatever, so if you're not on any of our channels and you like what's being said and all of that, please go to the other channels.
My channel is it's youtube.com at Elflair Games.
At Elflord Games. Okay, on YouTube.
Elflair Games, yeah.
Awesome. Yeah, so check all that stuff out and like, share, subscribe to everybody.
Whoop.
Good stuff.
Hey Roger, I have a little story for you sometime later. It's a Shadow Dark story.
Okay.
One of my players, because we didn't play this week, was like, hey, he goes, if you want, because we were going to be short some players, he goes, if you want, I'll run like a high level adventure so we can see how it plays. And I'm like, well, I could tell you how it's going to play. And he goes, what do you mean? I go, it's going to break down pretty bad. And he's like, no, I don't think so. I said, well, we had rolled characters for this campaign, but I hadn't made them yet. So I had the stats there.
Yeah.
And I had 116 that I had rolled. And I go, well, let me give you an example. I said, what level are we talking about? He goes, oh, let's go 9th level, 10th level. Let's say 9th level. I said, okay. I said, so let's say I make a wizard and I put that 16 on the intelligence. I said,
yep.
Let's just roll. Remember, I get to pick a spell every level. We're not going to pick them all. First level, I'm going to take Magic Missile because I get advantage on casting. I said, but let's roll out the talents. Let's just roll them because you roll at 1, 3, 5, 7, and 9.
Sure.
So
yeah.
I rolled them out, and I ended up getting +2 to intelligence. I ended up getting twice I got a +1 to spell casting, and twice I got to pick advantage on spells. So I'm like, okay, we'll pick advantage on hold person, and then the last one was level 9. I go, well, now I can pick any spell. I go, we'll take Fireball for just shits and giggles. I go, but we could do Power Word Kill. We could do just anything. And I go, so now let's say combat starts. I now had a +7, I think, to my spellcasting roll.
Yep, that sounds about right, yeah.
With advantage on Fireball. I go, so first round I cast Fireball, and I rolled 2 dice. Oh, that goes off. Next round I cast Fireball, and I rolled it. I did it like 6 times in a row, and he's like, dude, you could just keep casting? I go, yeah. I said, that's the problem. That's the problem with those talents. That they give you too much of it, and it will break down come the end of the game.
Yeah.
Once you start getting them, even if you get it at your 5th level talent and you've just got Fireball, you're now launching fireballs left and right and just decimating everything.
Yeah, no, there's definitely things that could cause problems. I mean, the die rolls have to go right. I'm not saying it's I mean, it's not impossible. There's a good possibility of it. I'm not trying to shortchange it, but I mean, but at that level, you're powerful enough, and Fireball isn't hugely powerful.
It is if you're throwing it every round.
Well, no, if you're right. But I mean, it's not like 10d6, right?
But you could do that on Power Word Kill.
Well, right, yeah,
or Disintegrate.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean,
Fireball, I agree.
We had a situation in Rime of the Frost Maiden where there was a dungeon that we were going down in, and we opened the door and there's stairs going down, and the thief snuck down and looked in, and the room was like full of zombies, undead, whatever. Came back up and the mage went, I shoot Fireball down the stairs, and we just waited, and we went down and everything was dead.
Yeah. Yeah, no, and we'll see what happens, and maybe it'll maybe it'll all blow up and we'll realize that, hey, Shadow Dark isn't the game for us. But that's like a year down the road before we get to 9th level.
I don't think
Yeah.
we'll ever get there with my group because we're switching to 2E here in a couple months.
And the other thing you do too is like if that guy's spamming Fireball, that would draw some attention, right? Like
Right.
if you were jamming Fireball one after another up my ass, I'd probably be like, we need to kill that guy. So everybody focus on that
Yeah.
guy.
Right.
And
Let's get some fire giants
Shadow Dark,
who are immune. And
this Shadow Dark wizard is not going to last very long with that kind of attention.
Right. But like I said, the example too, at 3rd level, you're picking up Hold Person, casting that with advantage too.
Yeah.
And it's just, who's the biggest guy on the battlefield? Let's start taking them out one at a time.
Yeah.
It was just an example to show him because he didn't seem to understand. I don't understand. I think it's because my players don't DM, so they don't ever get to see the other side of the coin.
Yeah.
And I told him, I go,
definitely see that.
I go, believe me, if you're doing that, you're going to be in trouble when I bring out a cleric and a wizard that's rolling advantage on high level spells too.
The way I'm looking at it is if my characters survive to get to that level and can do that, they've earned it.
Yeah.
I mean, yes, that'll get.
Yeah.
What's that? Yeah. And then that gets old quick. Like I get it. But like at that point, like I'm going to try and push my, push characters to, retire or, and players to start making newer, things. Cause I mean, I think low level play is fun. Low to mid level, is
that's
where
what I
it's
always
at.
say about the difference between old school play and the current versions of not just D&D, many games. Back in the day, hitting 3rd level was an achievement. Like it was something to celebrate. Like now I have a chance to survive and make something of this character. Now it's just rote. I mean,
Yeah, we only back in the day playing 1E and 2E, we only had, I think, 2 groups in all of those years that ever made it above 10th level. One made it to 10th level, and one made it like 12th or something. Yeah. And that was very rare. And when they died, like the 10th level, we were playing a homebrew of Dragonlance, right? Because we were kids and we had read all the books and we were all into it. And all we had was the Dragonlance Adventures book and a map. So we just kind of did our own homebrew. And, we're teenage kids. So it's like Monty Hall. We got crazy weapons. They're 10th level. And they decided to get into combat, an aerial combat on a dragon. And one of my players, the fighter, was 10th level. And he's like, I want to jump from this dragon and try and grab hold of the rider on the other one and throw him off his dragon. And I'm like, that's not going to work. And I told him, you're going to roll this and this. And he goes, I'm going to try it. And he did it and he failed. And he fell and he died. And he still talks about it to this day as one of the greatest things he's ever done in the game and had so much fun doing it because he was like, it was a worthy way to die. Because but now, players are like, you got a 2nd level character in 5e and they're crying because they got killed because I wrote my big backstory and I don't.
Right.
Dude.
Now in 5e, jumping from dragon to throw the rider off is a foregone conclusion.
Right, I know.
Back then it was like you said, you know this isn't going to work and you're very likely to die. But the response would have been, but if it works.
Right, and that's exactly what it was. It was like, imagine if it works.
Yeah. If it doesn't work, the most I've lost is 15 minutes to roll up a new character. That's,
right. We had a guy, my buddy Jimmy, we played, we had a second ed game back in the day. He went through 5 wizards in 5 campaigns, or in 5 adventures, because his wizard kept dying, and we were high enough level to pay for him to get resurrected. Like, he wouldn't let us do it. No, just give me the fucking book. I'm gonna make a new wizard.
Yeah.
I've got a player in my group that one of the only one in the group that's actually DM'd, and he's very much against like resurrection and raise dead unless they're like high level. He's like, I don't think it should be used on 5th level characters. That's for high level. Okay, if you say so, Sean. He's the same way though. Nope, don't resurrect me. I don't want it.
Yeah.
So, I kind of want to get back to. I kind of want to start talking. I want to talk about Jason's stuff here. Keep going on some of this stuff, but
Yeah.
what? If you guys are okay with that, I mean,
Keep us-
if you want to keep talking about second edition, Jason,
Keep us
I'm
on
more than
track,
happy
Roger.
Dude, I
You
love
know.
second edition, but I'm also quite happy to talk about my stuff. So,
So, well, I'm just curious, like, why the departure from like D&D? Like, I mean, you're close, right? Like, why not just, you know, use the OGL and have it be 100%, compatible. Just use BX
So,
or whatever. What was
originally,
the?
Night Shift was OGL. It was done under the OGL. I moved away from the OGL for the same reason everybody else did. WotC turned into assholes, and they tried to pull the OGL.
WotC? No.
Yeah, I know. They tried to pull the OGL, and all of us went, we're not going to let that happen to us.
They're a nice, wholesome company.
My games are still, I would say, 100% compatible in the way they were. All I did was change dexterity is called agility now, but it's still dexterity.
The some of the stats are changed,
Yeah.
and the
Like,
armor
AC
thing is a little bit.
is DV instead of, or AC is DV now, defense value instead of armor class. But it still works exactly the same. I just changed terminology.
Sure.
Because there's that thing where you can't copyright rules. You can patent
Right.
them, but WotC hasn't done that. So, and it's for why I did it. I did it for the same reason anybody does it. I make the games that I want to play, and I had all these house rules from all the years I've been playing, and I wanted to make the version of D&D that I wanted to play. Really, the way Ogres started, and the story is told in Night Shift. And I'm sorry for anybody on the chat that knows me and has heard this story a million times. I had an old school like OD&D blog.
WotC apologized to Luke. Everything's good now.
Yeah,
We're good.
yeah.
They're fine again. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I had an old school blog called Wasted Lands: The Dreaming Age. Or not, that Wasted Lands: The Dreaming Age is the game. It was called Wasted Lands Fantasy, the blog, and that was where the seeds that became the game germinated on the blog. But it was an OD&D and AD&D focused blog, and I used to write blog entries on how you don't have to reinvent the wheel to play what you want to play. You can play Star Wars with OD&D.
Yeah.
Without making too many changes to it. I actually have a Star Wars OD&D source book on my old website. But I wrote a blog on how you could play Buffy the Vampire Slayer with OD&D rules, essentially using the monk to mimic a Slayer. And my buddy Tim Brannon, who I had worked with him for TV Studios back in the day, and we worked on the Buffy game a little bit together. Just a little bit, like not heavily. He sent me a message online and said, "Why aren't we writing this game? Dude, we have to write this game. Like, nobody else can write this game." And I said, I'm really not in a place where I can, I know, but Tim knows me, and he knew that he was putting a worm in my ear. And like 2 weeks later, I had half the system written, just because I had to. Once he put the bug in my ear, so I messaged him back and I said, "All right, I've got a system worked out. If we do this."
Uh-oh. Let's see.
All right, I'm here. What happened
He's
there?
back. I don't know. You froze up, and then
It said I lost. It said I was waiting for host to join. That's weird.
Oh,
Okay.
we got tired of
It's a
your story.
restream thing.
kicked you out.
Where did you guys lose?
Sorry, there was some. I was saying something in the chat too. I don't hear it anymore now. There was like a TV or something that sounded like.
Yeah, I
in the
heard that
background.
too. I don't know what it was.
I wasn't sure where it was coming from.
So, anyways, Tim had gotten back to me about my blog and said,
Yeah.
"We have to write this game. Nobody else can do it." And he put a worm in my ear, and before I knew what was happening, I had half the system written. So I messaged him back and I said, "All right, dude, we can do this." I said, "But if we're going to do it, we're going to do it right. I'm going to make Elf Lair Games an LLC. We're going to do a Kickstarter. We're going to do proper print run." And he went, I'm fine with that. Let's do it. So that's how Ogre started. It started with me writing a blog on how to do Buffy the Vampire Slayer with OD and D.
Cool.
So really, that was the germination of it. That was why we didn't just use D&D for our home games.
And then
Once I had Night Shift out, I said, all right, well, if we're going to do this, if we're going to make a go of it, we have an urban fantasy modern game. We need to have a fantasy game, and we need to have a sci-fi game. So Wasted Lands came next, and then Parsecs came.
yeah. No, that makes sense. And so, and you worked on Amazing Adventures. Now that was
Amazing Adventures is entirely mine.
that's yours. Yeah, right. So
Yeah.
that's yours. And was that originally in your system? Like, how did that come about?
No. Amazing Adventures started. I became a fan of Troll Lord, like everybody else did back in 2005 when Castles and Crusades. Castles and Crusades came out. I was really active on their message boards at the time. I had a fan website for it, and I started publishing house rules. A lot of that stuff, the character classes from Amazing Adventures, the MEP magic system, were all, and they might actually still be up there on my old CNC fan site, which is still floating around out there. And they had published Star Siege, where people liked, but everybody pretty much agreed wasn't really a siege engine game. There was too much of a learning curve. It was too different. And I had heard, I was really good friends with Jason Alexander, their tech guy at the time, their IT guy. And he had mentioned that they were looking to expand outside of fantasy. So I had all these rules that I put together for what at the time was just supposed to be a pulp game, a pulp approach on CNC.
Yeah.
And I submitted it to Steve, and he liked it. It sat on his desk for, I shit you not, it sat on a desk for 3 years before he got back to it. Yeah. Every once in a while I would talk to him, and he'd be like, yeah, I haven't gotten around to it yet. I'll get around to it. We'll talk. And meanwhile, he'd throw me bones. Like I wrote an adventure module for Star Siege, or I wrote, but but it sat on his desk for 3 years until he finally got around to it. And I understand it was actually Davis that got around to it and really loved it and told Steve, we are publishing it. So, yeah, it was originally going to be called Pulp Siege because it was Star Siege. And
Pulpy
yes,
and
I just decided that just wasn't going to work as a line name. We couldn't do genre siege for everything. So we came up with Amazing Adventures, and it stuck. And then now, when I originally did Amazing Adventures, my idea was always that it was going to be multi-genre. In my head, pulp and multi-genre are the same thing because the pulps were the origin of all the genres that we all love.
Yeah.
Fantasy started in the pulp. Sci-fi started in the pulp. Horror started in the pulps. So it was always, but there's this common usage thing where everybody hears pulp and they think Indiana Jones or O'Connell from The Mummy. So it kind of got shoved in the box until years later.
That's why I was out. That's why I didn't buy the original version of it.
Right.
Because I saw it that it was a pulp game and was like, nah, I'm not super into pulp only.
Right. So the newest version we did, we rebranded it and we brought it up to date so it looks like the CNC books and it shares the same layout and graphic design. And
I'll tell you this. I like your books better, Amazing Adventure books, better than the CNC books. One, I love the art. The art on them are awesome. I also really love the fact that the pages are matte and not gloss because I have overhead lighting in my game room.
The only thing I don't like about the current publication with the matte pages is that if we stay matte, and we're discussing this on the next printing, the text needs to be darker. The black on the text needs to be darker because it's hard to read in some places.
I think it's fine.
But I agree with you. I think
go gloss. I won't buy them if they're gloss.
In the end, that's not my decision to make.
Yeah,
but
no,
I do. I know Steve and Dakota love the matte because it's lighter. It's physically lighter to carry the books around. They're not as heavy as the gloss books are.
Yeah.
But yeah, they look gorgeous. I just think the text needs to be a little darker on them. But I am super proud of Amazing Adventures and the 5e version of Amazing Adventures that we did. That game, the original AA is my baby. It's always going to be my baby. I absolutely love it. Yeah.
Yeah. No, that's that like I like A&A, or I keep saying A&A because of CNC, but
Yeah.
Amazing Adventures, AA.
AA.
I like it. Yeah, it looks good. I'm looking for a multi-genre game, for something that I want to run. And so,
Sorry,
know.
excuse me. That thing's falling down on me here.
No, you're good.
Listen, I am listening to you.
And so, that might be the game that I use for that. Yeah.
There's
And I have my books. I didn't think to put them next to me.
I have the originals.
They're over there.
Or what-
That's not the original.
Well,
Funny.
no,
Yeah.
I have this one.
Yeah, that's the second. That's the second print.
So you know what I absolutely love that I love
I have
about
the
this
Leatherette
book.
special editions.
What I love about this
Yeah.
book, and I hate about the CNC books in the latest print runs, I like the white background. This
Oh.
green, the green textured background on the CNC books. That's
We did a blue one in the current Amazing Adventures. It's a blue marbled background. I
Is
actually
that-
like the backgrounds, but again,
know-
like I said, I think that the text needs to be blacker to stand out more and make it easier to read.
yeah. I think for me, it's one of these things where, like, I have to have a physical book at the table. But I like PDFs I put them on my iPad and I'll go up and lay in bed and read them before I go to sleep and whatever. And I like to, when I'm prepping for an adventure, I'll take parts that I need and I'll print them. Having a white background makes it real easy to print. Having a textured background with a black and white printer, they just get,
Yeah.
blah.
And
So
it would be easy enough. It would be easy enough in the PDFs to set it so that you could turn off those layers.
Yeah.
But I think it's just an extra step in layout that they don't want that the trolls don't want to deal with.
it's funny because I went through in one of the monster manuals for CNC, one of my PDFs. I went in and just hit edit PDF, and then I removed the background. And however they did it, it was like every odd page had a background and every even page had a background. So as soon as I removed two of them, they were gone for the whole book
Yeah.
because it repeated.
Probably
So-
master pages. They probably use master pages so that it's
Right.
set up for odd and even pages. Yeah.
Right. So in my
Yeah.
PDF, I just removed the backgrounds and then resaved it, and then I just have a copy that has no backgrounds on it, and
Yeah.
that worked for me. But you can't always do that, and
Right.
some companies even lock their PDFs, so you can't edit them.
Yeah. I don't think that's bother.
I have ways of unlocking.
Yeah, no, there's ways to do it. It's just
Yeah.
I never understood the point. I mean,
Yeah.
when
Yeah, I
people-
hear you. That in the end, none of that. I don't have really a say in any of that. I do the writing and the graphic design and layout and stuff like that is.
Yeah.
I mean, Steve will listen to me if I have comments and thoughts, but I don't make the decisions on that in the end.
Yeah.
So
Now tell me
Yeah.
if I'm correct on this, but it always felt to me like Amazing Adventures is obviously totally mechanically different, but it reminds me of Savage Worlds in that it's a core rule system that can be applied to a whole lot of different genres.
somebody else just said
Yeah,
that.
sure. Yeah, somebody else had Suede.
said
Yeah.
that.
I
Oh,
picked that
okay.
up.
Yes, I didn't
Yeah,
set
Dan.
out for that when I originally designed
Oh yeah, I missed
Amazing
that.
Adventures. I don't know that Savage Worlds was a thing yet. It may have been. It was 2008. I don't know when Savage Worlds came
Savage
out.
World's been around for a while now.
Yeah.
But I don't know 2008. Yeah.
But I didn't do it to be like Savage Worlds. But
No,
I used to liken it as like the GURPS of the Siege Engine. It was
sure.
a universal approach to the Siege Engine rules. But yeah, that's totally a fair comparison, Savage Worlds, because it is that toolkit system that you can make into anything you want, and that's what Amazing Adventures is designed to
Yeah.
be. We always say Castles and Crusades is the D&D style fantasy for Siege Engine, and Amazing Adventures is everything else.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, sure. And now you have and we've talked about this at some conventions and stuff, but just so it's on stream here, on recorded record, we got you've mentioned that there is a monster manual.
I am over
coming-
half
you're working on it?
Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
actively working on it right now. There are going to be right now, and this is subject to change because I keep adding and taking things away as I go.
Sure.
I can tell you that right now. Let me.
We
open
won't
up.
hold you to any numbers.
What's this?
Is it a lot bigger than this one?
Yes.
Yeah. Well, it's got to have all the different
Should be
genres
at
in
least
it.
128 pages. It should be at least 128 pages. There's going to be some monsters that we bring over from. I think I have 22 monsters right now that we're going to copy over from Monsters and Treasure, only because we don't want to make people buy 2 books if they don't have to. And there
Sure.
are certain things like zombies and vampires and werewolves that you want in this book for
Sure.
horror monsters. So there's a few that are going to be in, but there are right now 117 more monsters that are entirely original, ranging from aliens to cryptids to horror movie monsters to Lovecraftian horrors. That's right now. I have 117 original monsters, but again, that list could grow, could shrink slightly.
Yeah.
It won't shrink slightly. If I take anything out, it gets replaced at this point. So there's going to be at
Cool.
least 117 brand new monsters in it.
Is there a timeline on that? I know that's hard to ask with Steven.
Yeah, I don't want to say
know.
because I don't want to say anything because if I say it's going to kickstart this summer and then it doesn't, everybody says
Yeah.
vaporware, and we're not going to do that. So I can tell you that I'm over halfway through writing, and I told Steve that I am determined, desperately hoping to be done by the end of April with the manuscript.
Okay.
That's my hope.
Okay.
And then from there, I don't know if Heather's still here, but Heather and I actually had an idea at Page for a wild/Weird West source book that we're going to work on together.
Oh, cool.
Cool. You guys I don't know if you guys have the Adventurer's Armory books that we did for Castles and Crusades. Steve wants me to do something like that for modern weapons for Amazing Adventures. So there's going to be a huge firearm.
You brought it up.
I'm gonna let Jason take this one because he's gonna say what I was gonna say, but
Okay.
we'll let him do it.
I backed the Adventurer's Armory.
Yeah.
And I was really looking forward to it. And it's got amazing weapon selection, and the art is great. The weapon stats make me want to pull my beard hair out.
I knew you were going to say that, like all of the crossbows doing like a D4 damage or some shit like that. Yeah. Steve was
D3,
not
everything
happy
does a
about that.
D3.
Yes, Steve was not happy about that either, and he overlooked that when we were doing all the layout and stuff like that. That will not be an issue. All of the firearms, their stats are going to match the stats that are in the core rulebook, but they're going to be more detailed, and they're going to be with stat blocks like they are in the Adventurer's Armory. And I'm going to have more firearms in it. I'm going to have more modern firearms in there. I'm going to have Steve flat out told me, you need to have pulse rifles, you need to have ion pistols, you need to have plasma blast. So there's going to be science fiction. Speaking of which, I did also right before Page, I turned in the manuscript for the new Star Siege. So that is sitting on Steve's desk now.
And
So
how much?
there's
Sorry,
stuff
go ahead.
for AA.
How much is Star Siege getting expanded? Is that or is it getting expanded? I guess that's the first question.
Pages. It's 128 pages now, and yes, it is expanded. There is there's a full system in there now for Starship Combat that uses. You have 13 parsecs. The 13 parsecs Starship Combat system, I took it and made it work with the Siege engine. So the starships with those 11 systems and taking damage to the systems and what happens when a system reaches 0 and all that is now going to be the Amazing Adventures Starship Combat system.
Yeah, Agile. There's something to be said about the days when we did just everything was hit die, everything was a D6 for hit die and damage and all of that. Ogres. And also like we were talking about guns and stuff like that. And Jason, I think this is something that you'll appreciate, but I know it's in 13 parsecs. It's probably in your other games, but I know you have like a hardcore mode, gritty mode, or whatever you call it.
So all
where
of
like
the
firearms are save or die.
Some of them,
Something
yeah.
like that,
all
right?
all
Yeah.
of my games have different levels of grit that you can mix and match for different else. So like you don't have to say your game is entirely gritty. You can have gritty saves but cinematic damage and things like that. But there's 3 levels. There's realistic, which I'm probably going to change to normal in next printings because it's really not realistic. It's just our standard middle ground. And then there's cinematic, which is over the top heroics. And then there's gritty, which is, and as you were saying, to use firearms as an example, normal firearms do a lot of damage. They do extra dice of damage to represent their penetration and the way they do internal organ damage. Cinematic firearms, which is actually what I gear towards, is that they're just another weapon. They do a D6 just like a sword or a knife or anything else. And then gritty is if you get shot by a firearm, it's save or die.
Are
the gritty
these
firearms rules? The gritty firearms rules are meant to mimic things like if you watch Buffy the Vampire Slayer, for example, since I used that already.
Mm-hmm.
In Buffy, it's a brutal but over the top cinematic heroic type setting where the heroes can take a pounding and never go down until someone brings out a gun. As soon as guns come out in Buffy, the stakes are, somebody's going to get shot and somebody's going to die.
Yeah.
So that's where the cinematic firearms. My take on firearms, and the reason I use the cinematic version where they're just another weapon, is that everybody likes to make firearms, differentiate them from swords by having firearms do a lot of damage. It's not the way it works in real life. Right. If you think about it, if you shoot somebody in the shoulder with a 9mm, then you hit somebody in the shoulder with an overhand chop from a 2-handed
right.
which does more damage?
Yeah.
The battle axe.
Yeah, definitely. Sure.
It's just that the firearm penetrates more. It's more likely to punch through, and you can shoot somebody 3 times, whereas you might chop them with a battle axe once.
Yeah.
That's where the advantage of firearms is. So my personal take is I prefer the cinematic take where they're just another weapon.
Dan is trying to use his willpower to not buy one of these nice cool books. Are these limited supply or do these keep coming
in? They are. Yes. No, they are limited. So, I still have a number of them left. They are still available. I am running.
If Dan doesn't buy one soon, he might never get one.
Low on the ones with the black ribbon bookmarks.
Oh boy, Dan!
Are they available on your web store?
Yes, you can get them on the web store. Yeah.
Jason's buying them right now.
Yes, I don't have the bandwidth to do it now because it will knock me off the live stream.
So I have leathers. I have leathers of the Wasted Lands books too. Those do not have ribbon bookmarks, but I do have those. I'm out of the leathers for Night Shift.
I think I sold a book.
And I should say to everybody, Night Shift, we're selling down to the end of our first print. So Night Shift has been permanently, the price is down to $25 for the hardcover. So it's $25 for 288, something like that, page hardcover. So, yeah.
Yeah, I'm not like a modern kind of, player. Like those aren't the games that I really like to run. And then, I mean, I would go back to Blacklight for a second, right? Like I played that and that was like, I kind of enjoyed that more than I thought I was going to, because I'm just sending modern people into, a D&D world or a D&D dungeon type of thing. So, but generally like the games that are modeled after like Buffy, right? Like you said, like I kind of gloss over those. That's not my thing, like the modern, kind of thing. But maybe, I mean, I like the idea of the Wasted Lands. Like I said, I only have the 13 parsecs right now. That's,
so Wasted Lands has its own built-in. So 13 parsecs and Night Shift have mini settings in the back that kind of show what you can do with them. Wasted Lands has a built-in setting that it's in its own book. Volume 2 is the GM's Guide and Gazetteer, and it is heavily Robert E. Howard and H.P. Lovecraft sword and sorcery setting. It takes place 65 million years ago, 1,000 years after the KT extinction event. And in the setting, that is also the event that made the stars go wrong and sent the old ones into their eternal slumber. What you play in Wasted... Now, the core book of Wasted Lands is just a sword and sorcery fantasy core. You can use it to play anything. The setting book, this is the setting book I'm talking about. You would play proto-humans that were evolved from various creatures that the old ones created as slave races. And
Mhm.
now the old ones are gone, and you've broken your chains and you're out to reclaim the world by moving into all the shit that the old ones left behind. And you're dealing with deep ones and shuggoths and all the critters that are still left wandering around, as well as megafauna that are still left.
Yeah.
And the real catch is your character might be they're very mortal, these characters. They're all too mortal and normal warriors and wizards and whatnot. But
Sure.
your character's name might be Thor or Artemis or Hercules or Zeus, and you are creating the legends that will be later in millions of years through ancestral memory be remembered as the myths and legends of old. And you have opportunities in game to interact with your mythology, which is up to the GM to make happen. And when you do that in some meaningful way, you can get divine touchstones, which are special powers that your character can build that are related to their sphere of influence as what they will eventually become. So if you're playing Thor, your first touchstone might be that you get a magic hammer, which starts as maybe just one hammer. But then as you go on, maybe you get the chance to cast a lightning bolt from that hammer or, something like that. So that's kind of the shtick behind it. So you're fighting to beat back the darkness of the great old ones. And it's a world that has what I call the bleeding, which is the energy of the outer dark bleeding through into the world. And always threatening to wake up the old ones again. And at the same time, the earth is waking up, which is where your divine touchstones come in, and is learning that it has a soul, and that soul is radiance. So your characters, as they go through their apotheosis, gain radiance and can help turn areas of bleeding into areas of radiance. And that's the basic concept behind the setting, the core setting of it.
That sounds awesome.
But again, you don't have to use that. There's a reason why I put that in volume 2. Like volume 1 is the core rules, and the appendix has rules if you want to play elves and dwarves and gnomes and halflings. And,
No, I love the setting. I love it. I mean, it's different. It's not the same old. Here we are in the fantasy world with elves and dwarves and hobbits, and all of that. It's cool. I really like how you tie that in with the special abilities and stuff.
Right now, the animal species that you choose for your proto-human is flavor-based. Like you just say, my character's Ursine, so it has bear-like features. But I am working on the booklet and the GM screens for it, and then I have to get the money to publish them. But the booklet, which will come out in PDF first, is going to have actual, like, if you're an Ursine character, these are the abilities that you might be able to pick up for being a bear, or a crow, or whatever. So that there's going to be optional rules added on for people who want to have their animal species that they're evolved from mean something.
So is this it for now for the core books, and you're going to work on
the core books? I don't have
expansions
for another core book right now. We're gonna work on expansions for them. I also have a $5 game which you can pick up on my website called CD8 Fantasy, which is a beer and pretzels fantasy game that works on a dice pool system of D8s. Okay. And the attributes are, I always forget them. I can't rattle them off. The attributes are moxie, gumption, cut of my jib.
I love it.
Childlike wonder, and a certain je ne sais quoi.
I love it.
The 6 attributes. It came out of a meme that was floating around. Somebody put a meme up that said, I want somebody to design me a game with these 5 attributes or these 6 attributes. And my wife said, I want you to make this game for me. So I did. And then I had it. So I turned it into CD8 Fantasy, and you can get it on DriveThruRPG. You can order it from my website in print. It's like $5. It might be like $11 in print and like $5 on it. But
I'm going to have to check that out.
Yeah.
And get that. I really like the idea of that. Agile, thank you for the push there over 500. That'd be fantastic. I think I'm at 165 somewhere around there right now. So yeah, I would love to get over 500. So yeah, everybody likes, share, and subscribe, I guess, right?
Yep.
But yeah, CD8, there it is. View products. This looks awesome.
It's total beer and pretzels. Like I said, the whole game is like 48 pages or something like that. But it's
Yeah.
totally robust. Like I've put together whole adventures for my group that took several sessions to go through, and it took me like an hour to put together the whole adventure because monsters have super simple stats. Like they have knowing things in war. That's the stats for monsters. And they might have their special abilities. So it's super easy to put that together. I actually worked the inverse ninja rule into the system as a rule in the system. So it's a mook rule, so that the more mooks there are, the less deadly they are. But as you whittle them down, the last remaining mook is like a big bad. So, yeah.
So I'm looking at the Wasted Lands. So it's volume 2 campaign guide. That's the
yes, and I can show you actually if I can.
Okay.
Here it is. It's not going to fit on the screen, but I can show you a bit of the world map. This was Mel Henning did this, who does some art for Troll Lord right now. And I don't know if anybody's seen her art, but she's on Twitter. And if you haven't, you should, because she is an amazing artist. And she did my world map.
Here, I'll put you on the big screen. Wow, look at that.
Yeah, so that's the world map.
Cool.
So
that's awesome.
yeah. And that comes in the back of the volume 2. If you get volume 2, that's in the back of the volume.
Oh, nice. Well, I guess I'm going to have to get volume 2 then as well. And I mean, you have to get volume 1 and then CD8. Well, I mean, I have to have going to have to get a hard copy of that with soft cover, print, and PDF. Is the print and the, okay. So print and PDF is 15. Okay. That's not bad. The Ultimate Beer and Pretzels Fantasy Role-Playing System.
And it's
we're gonna have to add that.
CD8 is written really tongue in cheek. It's got this like self-effacing humor throughout the whole thing.
Yeah,
you know, like it'll anticipate questions that you're going to ask, and then it'll tell you that was a stupid question.
Nice.
Yeah. So it was just written to be a lark, to be fun to read, but still be robust enough that you can use for pretty much any kind of game you want to run with it. So.
Yeah. No, I love it. I think that sounds awesome. Are you shipping this stuff? Does this stuff come from you, or do you have a? So you're packaging and stocking.
If you get a PDF package, I will within 24 hours. I'll send you a link to Drive-Thru-RPG. So you don't get the PDF download immediately, but I send you the DTRPG link within a day. So
well, I mean that's good enough. I mean maybe not, for most people, right? Everything's got to be. I clicked the checkout button. I need access to the PDF, and
there's probably a way and square for me to host PDFs on there and have them delivered immediately, but I haven't bothered to dig into it and figure it out. So
you just send out the drive-through.
It helps my drive-through sales. People download from there, and then I get another gold seller or diamond or silver seller or whatever.
Nice. Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, so I'm definitely gonna have to get that. You definitely sold me on Wasted Lands there with the setting, because that sounds really cool. So I'm definitely gonna have to check that out. And CD8.
And hey, with Wasted Lands and 13 Parsecs, you don't need Shadowrun anymore.
Yeah, well, I mean, I've never really played Shadowrun or had any, like, I never really enjoyed or had any. I've never played it really, so I can't say that I haven't enjoyed it. I don't know, for some reason that mashup of like, it just seems like it's everything all mashed up. Like, I don't mind some things mashed up and crazy things going on, but like I grew up with like Thundar the Barbarian, and that's like post-apocalyptic, future fantasy, fantasy and sci-fi kind of mixed together. I like that, but the idea of Shadowrun. What's that?
It's kind of what Wasted Lands is, because the old ones, when they went away, left behind all of their stuff.
That's cool. Well, like Shadowrun just seems like you took like a Shadowpunk or a Cyberpunk game and then dumped all the D&D.
He added ogres and trolls and
Yeah.
And then,
they
you
kinda
added,
did.
and then you added really crappy mechanics that needed 60 D6s to roll.
Oh, don't Mike, don't. Here we
I
go.
want-
60
listen,
D6s.
It was
want-
better than the old West End Games D6 system where you had to wait for people to add up all the 60 D6 they were. At least in Shadowrun, you're just looking for how many sixes they got.
You know, Jason, usually it's me that brings that up, and then Jason gives me crap about it. But that was my remember, like with Force users and stuff in Jedi in the
Yeah.
D6 game. It's
Let's
like,
wait
oh
for
yeah,
Jedi
I
to
just
add
gotta
up
roll 45
D6
D6s and then
Yeah.
wait 10 minutes for this guy to learn how to add. You know, it's
Well, that's a
Still the
good
best
thing.
system made for official Star Wars.
I
Yes,
actually
Mikado
disagree
is
with that,
correct.
and I take a lot of guff for it. But I think WotC's last Saga edition was the best Star Wars game.
Oh,
Whoa.
Jesus, God.
Yeah.
God no.
Not the original, not the original D20 Star Wars game.
no,
That
no,
was
the
terrible.
saga with the
Saga
weird
edition
shaped
one.
book. with the
weird
square
shaped
book.
books was an excellent game. Really, really well designed. And
It had
really
some.
fun to play,
It had
and
a couple.
I'm
really
canceling
felt
my
like
order.
Star Wars when you played it. Yeah.
It had a couple cool things that I liked. I
in
liked
West-
the that you had like your main hit points, and then like I forget what they called it, right? But then like whenever you got a critical hit, like it went against your like
That
your
was
constitution
D20.
or whatever.
Vitality.
Oh,
You're
that
talking
was
about
D20.
Vitality. That was a D20, not the Saga.
Oh,
edition.
never mind. Then I have no idea what was good about Saga Edition
Yeah.
because the
Saga
book shape killed me.
Yeah. I Saga Edition was great. I didn't like it when I read it, and then I played it and changed my mind. And I had the exact opposite experience with 4th edition. I liked it when I read it, and then I played it and I hated it.
You keep talking like that, and you're going to give Jason an aneurysm, which is good.
No,
Which is
everyone's
good
allowed
because
to
I
be
think
wrong.
my
It's
view
okay.
count will go up. My view count will go up if he has an aneurysm on live stream.
I
So
think people that talk about West End Games D6 probably haven't played it in a long time because it doesn't really hold up. There's a lot
I
of
still
work
disagree.
there.
we played
Ran
it. We actually played
Couple
it
years
at a
ago. 2 years
convention.
ago?
What was it last year?
It was page one.
It was page one. We played it. We played a
Did
Star
we
Wars
have a
game.
good time?
No, I had a good time. It was fine.
Yes.
It was fine. But I'll say, like, I had to roll, I think, at most 4 dice.
Yeah.
Right.
And that was fine. And it was fine. I just have memories of somebody playing a Jedi and rolling literally like 2 handfuls of
I
dice.
played
and, like,
a Jedi in a
adding
West,
things up.
West End Games D6 game about 5-10 years ago, and I would regularly roll 20 dice on lightsaber combat, and everybody would have to sit there and wait
That's
for me
crazy.
to add them up. Yeah.
Yeah.
You
Now, that said,
I just never
not-
thought
I'm
that
not-
adding those dice was difficult.
I'm not going to get down on D6 entirely because it was fun. I had fun with it. I absolutely had fun with it. I don't think that it sucked. I just think that Saga Edition was a fantastic game. I'm actually reading right now. I backed the who did it? Magnetic Play did a Planet of the Apes RPG that uses the West End Games D6, and it just came out like 6 months ago, something like that. Yep, there it is.
Rounded
reading it
corners,
now.
too.
It's super cool.
Look at
Yeah.
that.
It
Sexy
is
rounded
super cool.
pages.
And I'm really digging the D6 system in that because, again, you won't have as much of a problem with everybody has to wait for somebody to add up 20 D6. So,
Yeah.
and is it hard to do? No, but it absolutely slows down the game. There's no argument. It absolutely slows down the game. And I think one of the problems that Wedge Star Wars had was that Jedi were either completely nerfed next to everybody else or completely ruled the table. There was no middle ground for them.
I would agree with that.
Yeah. And that's one of the things I liked about Saga Edition was that Jedi still felt like Jedi, but they were also balanced against the other players or the other characters.
Yeah.
I never liked in Wedge how Jedi had 3 extra attributes, but the same amount of attribute points to spread among them, because your Force skills were treated as attributes. They used attribute points.
Yeah, control sense and alter.
Yeah. Now later, and I understand this might be the case in the new Wedge system that's coming out. I have the PDFs, but I haven't looked at them yet, so I could be wrong. But I understand that they're changing that so that there's one like Force or metaphysics or whatever it was attribute with those 3 things being skills underneath it, which I kind of like. I like that solution.
Yeah, I know we back like the second edition of the D6 system there, and it's not put out by West End Games, but it
No,
was like
no.
authorized or
I
licensed
have
by
the
them.
PDFs here, but I haven't had a chance to go through them.
Yeah, it's man, I can't remember the
I'm
company
looking it up right now because I
that,
can't
that put it out. We backed that, and I know that they had like some delays. I mean, it's a Kickstarter, like that's just the way it
It's
is.
been a
right?
while.
But yeah, I know they're doing like 3 different covers and all that. So, but hopefully that'll be coming, shortly.
Yeah. I knew there was going to be delays with that because they got so ambitious with the like 3 different covers and
Yeah.
Yeah.
it's like that.
Gallant.
That'll do it.
Yeah,
Yeah, whenever you get ambitious with things like that, there's going to be delays. So
yeah, that happens.
yep, there it
There
is.
it is. Yeah.
Yep.
What's
Yeah,
the
they
company?
sent out the PDFs.
Gallant Knight.
Gallant Knight. Okay.
They sent out the PDFs. The PDFs, you should have them if you backed it.
Okay. I'll have to look. I have a problem with Kickstarter and BackerKit and all that, and I get so many notifications that like it.
Problem
just-
is you're addicted to it.
Yeah, I don't know if I. Yeah, okay.
It's not a problem.
It's not a problem. All right, I don't have a problem.
Yes, you do.
How many projects have you backed on Kickstarter, Jason?
Me?
Yeah, you.
What
Yeah,
do
yeah.
Uh,
What we got?
I honestly don't know, but I don't back a lot. I don't. I probably, given the fact that I run my business on Kickstarter, I probably don't
Yeah.
back as many as I should.
I
But right
I-
now, my funding is critically low because I lost my job in June and haven't been able to find a new
Oh,
one. And I'm part-time bartending right now to make ends meet. So there's not a lot of extra cash in the till. So
what number? What
people
number of
can still buy my
Kickstarters?
book.
Yeah, well, I'm gonna buy some, and I think we sold a couple in the chat. What number of Kickstarters back do you think is a number that you would say, oh, this person has a problem?
I don't know. I honestly, I wish I could tell you that you have a horrible addiction.
Roger just wants you to give him an excuse to brag on how much Kickstarter.
Yeah.
That's
I
all
honestly-
it is.
I don't think about it that
Just
hard.
I'm at like 635.
Wow.
Jeez,
Yeah, that's a
You
that's a
don't-
problem.
you're not addicted.
No,
Yeah.
I'm not.
All right, I'll go look and see. And this doesn't say how many I did on BackerKit. I've done a couple on BackerKit too.
Yeah, I don't know how many on BackerKit. BackerKit's a harder number to look up, I think.
Agile, I see you posted all that information there. Did you back it or did you just pull it off of Kickstarter?
Gallant
I
Knight
have backed-
Games.
Ready for it? I
Yeah.
have backed 52 projects.
Nice. Congrats.
That's not a small number for Kickstarters.
That's not a
So-
small
Yeah.
number.
I've
Yeah.
backed 67 on Kickstarter.
Okay,
Not 500 like Roger.
600. Something. Yeah.
600.
I feel like
Yeah.
I'm measuring my dick and I'm coming up short. It's a common occurrence.
Oh boy, Agile. We'll have to get you on and compare notes. Yeah, Edgelord, Kickstarter's anonymous. Maybe we should start that. It's the FOMO thing. Like some of that is
I've
like I
backed
really
30.
got to
It
get over.
really is, and that's how a lot of those people get you on Kickstarter. I should do that with mine, but I'm afraid
Yeah.
if I start doing that I'll end up not being able to launch because I'll get in over my head with Kickstarter exclusives and stuff like that. But
Yeah.
I've seen too many people not fulfill because they offer shit like backpacks and T-shirts
Right.
and leather
And
jackets. And
We've had that conversation on here, and it's like that's most of the ones where you see that get super delayed or end up not fulfilling is when they have a book and their stretch goals are not written things like additions to the book.
all
That's
of
where
my
they get in
stretch
trouble.
goals are always additional content to the book.
Yeah, because people don't realize as soon as you're like, and most people, obviously the manufacturing and stuff is coming from overseas, and as soon as they change that stuff to a book, from a book to a book and dice, a book and minis, a book and whatever, not a book, it changes fulfillment, shipping, manufacturing, everything's,
The difference in the US, even if you're shipping a book, it's media mail. If you're shipping, as soon as you put dice in, it is instantly
right.
first class postage,
Right.
not email,
Right.
which is $1 or $2 more expensive for each person, which adds up. You know?
Agile will definitely be back in your stuff. May 12th, you
May
say?
12th,
Yeah. Yeah.
post a
we'll-
link to it. I'll take a
try
look
it.
at it and follow
I
up if I can
think-
scrape up the money.
I think I've seen it. I might be following it. But and we'll take a look. If you got a message or something, we'll get it. Yeah. But we'll definitely add after talk about it. You know, we'd love to have you.
I don't know if everybody else is. Roger, I'm losing you. You're freezing up.
No.
I thought it was me.
Yeah.
Am I there?
You're moving like a slideshow.
And now there you
I
go.
thought it was me.
He bailed on
Okay.
us.
Domo arigato, Mr. Roboto.
There he is. Now he's back.
I'm back.
On the
Okay,
bottom
hide
now.
that.
Yeah,
Shuffling
yeah, you're on the
Hollywood
bottom
Squares.
now.
Now I'm on the bottom. Oh boy,
We
this is
just
so
need,
weird.
We just need stand and drop so I can be in the top square for once.
Yeah, there you go.
Not happening.
Yeah, Mr. Roboto. Yeah, that's me. I don't know. We've had some storms come and go today, so
Yeah, we
So,
have
I
him
don't
rolling in here soon. So
I'm
So,
amazed. We've
yeah.
gotten, probably over 2 inches of rain today. It was
Yeah.
unbelievable this morning, and somehow my basement hasn't flooded.
yeah,
I think it's usually if it's prolonged over days and days, it just gets so saturated it just starts to seep in. But
I know
it was-
why. I know why your basement hasn't flooded, Mike.
why? Why?
It's because you put everything up on.
I know. I moved
Prepared
it
for
after the last time.
because it'll be a desert out there for 3 months, and you'll finally drop everything back to the
Well-
floor, and the next day it'll flood.
So
That's how
listen, I'll tell you a little story about last night. I went to bed and I decided to take a nice gummy, and I was sitting there scrolling TikTok on my iPad
my
till about
God.
1 o'clock in the morning. And about 5 o'clock, the thunderstorm rolled in, and all I could hear was the rain. And I'm like, what the hell is that noise? Because it was coming down
Yeah.
so hard that I had to get up because I'm like, I got to go check the basement and the garage because it was a lot of rain today. But it's
Yeah,
been good.
and everything's good. That's good.
it's been like
good.
every other day on the news. I'm getting so sick of hearing severe thunderstorms. Like, can we just have rain?
Yeah.
Why? Why does it have to be severe thunderstorms every time? Like,
Yeah. Well, yeah, that's what we get now, I guess. So we've got a link here. I'm going to put this in the chat. This is Agile Monks Kickstarter,
cool.
and this is Wondrous and Dangerous Consortiums and Zendria World Lore Book, a collection of wisdom, tools, and well-crafted consortiums, and a world setting and lore guide for Sandbox and West Marches campaigns.
That
That's a
sure is a
mouthful.
hell of a title.
I know that's a mouthful.
That's a hell of a
Yeah.
title right there.
Yeah, and I have it saved on here. So
I am
so-
now set to be notified on launch.
Yeah, me too.
yeah. So, and I'm definitely going to back that Agile. Obviously, I'm going to support you, and back it. I don't know what your tiers look like. I don't know if things are set up here yet, but definitely after you launch, if you want to come on and talk about it, we'll we'd love to have you on and chat.
I like
Oh.
the art. The when you scroll down, the books have a very comic book feel to them.
Yeah, the art there is right. It does look really good. I'm looking at like a frost giant image of a frost giant with a big hammer. And
Yeah,
then
that
there's
is
some
really
kind of
cool artwork. I'm looking at
Yeah.
the one with the dragon and the adventurers there. That wow, that is badass.
yeah. Yeah, with the fire and everything.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's
That
badass.
looks cool. That looks cool. So yeah, definitely you know, uh talk to us about it, and you know, we'll get it there. Yeah. Well, you know, we're happy to support anybody that supports us, and you know what I mean. I mean, you come on, you get other people to subscribe, and you know all of that, and I mean, I see around on the other channels and stuff, and you know what I mean. So
Yeah.
we're all in this boat together, right? So I mean,
Well, Agile Monk, thanks for this support with Amazing Adventures. I appreciate that, and so does everybody at Troll Lord. We all appreciate that. So
yeah, so I've set up and have all the Amazing Adventure Books content. Yeah, nice. Oh, it's awesome. Yeah, yeah. I just did. I've been teaching a class for kids, doing RPGs. We did different RPGs and stuff, and I got a set of the CNC books from Steven, and the 3 core books, a couple extra player books, a DM screen, and an adventure, and I gave that to somebody, and I gave away one of my starter sets to somebody, so they're going to run it, and so that's really cool. So good times. Yeah, yeah, it's fantastic.
Oh, Roger,
So
random fun fact. My
yeah.
wife was asking me today who I was like, is this a stream that you've done before? I said, no. You remember I told you about the guy that got into the fist fight with the giant scorpion?
Nice. Nice. I love it. I love it. I love that character. That character is awesome.
Savage
He's like
Cartland.
Steve.
He's,
Yeah,
he is a
he's got his fists, and like this is, you know,
he's a
he's
complete
like
rip-off of a Robert E. Howard character. A
Yeah.
100% rip-off of a Robert E. Howard character. Yep.
yeah. Yeah. No, it's awesome. I love playing him. I played him a couple times now, and it was an absolute blast.
At Page this year, did you share a booth with Troll Lord guys?
Well, I was there with Troll Lord.
He was there with
I
Troll
wasn't.
Lord, yeah.
Next year, I will be there as Elf Lair Games.
But-
This year, I was there with Troll Lord.
Were you there at their booth?
It was, yeah, and I ran.
Man, I don't know how I didn't see you because their booth was literally right around the corner from mine.
Yeah, what I was just saying about Roger getting into the fight with the Scorpion was this past year he played in one of my Amazing Adventures games,
Oh, okay.
and his pugilist character got into a fight with a giant scorpion, a fist fight with a giant scorpion. So,
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I mean, like what else? Like I've got fists. That's what my guy does. There's a
was
giant
your
scorpion.
group the one that I said woke up and chose violence? Was that your
Yeah.
group? The other one? Yeah, you
Yeah,
guys.
yeah, I
woke
think
up
so,
and
yeah.
chose violence that
Yeah.
morning.
Yeah. 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 That was the one. Yeah. We went into the hospital room or whatever. And we just got into a fight with those guys. I was throwing people around, and yeah. Yeah. That was fun. We're shooting up things in the hospital. Yeah. That was not me. No, I didn't have any guns. I was just, you know, following suit. so.
Punching things, yeah, grappling and
Punching
punching,
things, yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. No, that was a fun time. So yeah, my ear trumpet says he remembers you from some Unisystem books.
Yes, I did. I wrote for Eden Studios for a long time, and if they ever decide to come back, I will write for them again because I love George and I love the Unisystem. It's still one of my go-to systems. I wrote 3 source books for All Flesh Must Be Eaten. I wrote Dungeons and Zombies. I wrote Band of Zombies, which was a World War II source book, and then I co-wrote All Tomorrow's Zombies, which was a sci-fi book.
Wow, cool. I have All Flesh Must Be Eaten down there somewhere.
And I did some behind-the-scenes
Okay, yeah.
work on the Buffy game, which we talked about earlier with
Yep.
Tim. Behind-the-scenes work on a bunch of stuff for them. I did some, background stuff on Witchcraft and Armageddon, and but yeah, mostly what I did with my name on it was those 3 All Flesh Must Be Eaten
Cool.
books.
You said that you did some stuff with Palladium.
I did. That's where I got my start. That did not end well.
Oh boy.
No.
Well, if you don't want to
That's
talk
actually
about it,
waiting to ask that.
No, I mean I'll tell the story. I won't get into all the gory details, frankly, because Kevin and I buried the hatchet a long time ago, and I don't want to dredge it all up. But I started my very first publication publication anywhere was a article in the Rifter for Nightbane. It was a short story and a brief supplement for Nightbane, which they then gave me the green light to turn into a full source book, which became Shadows of Light for Nightbane, which was out of print for a long time and just I understand just recently came back into print. I will just say that my story is very similar to a bunch of people who parted ways with Palladium at that point in time, including CJ Carilla, Bill Coffin, Steve Trustrom. Our stories are all very similar. It didn't end well, and it was so bad that I was going to quit game design before I even ever really got started.
Wow.
I was devastated over the way that whole thing ended. And then Eden Studios came along and kind of picked me up out of the dirt. And again, I had a fan website for All Flesh Must Be Eaten and Witchcraft and Buffy. I had put up fantasy rules for the cinematic unisystem on there. And Alex, who was at the time the vice president of Eden, reached out to me over email and said, we really liked your fantasy rules and we would like you to write a source book for All Flesh Must Be Eaten for us. So that's what got me back in the game. And I was with Eden for a number of years. Yeah. So.
Wow. Cool. Yeah. And at some point you made your way around to do work for Goodman.
I did. Yes. That came about actually through Steve.
Was this just I don't know if you've done anything else. Was it just Empire of the East, or
I did an adventure module, which I believe was released and is out there. I never got a comp copy of it. Actually, you have one of my books for Goodman behind you on the shelf right there. I worked on the Temple of Elemental Evil.
Oh, okay, cool.
I did the Village of Nulb and the first level of the temple itself.
Oh,
Yeah.
Nice. Awesome.
So,
Okay.
Yeah, the Village of Nulb and the first level of the temple was me in that. I did an adventure module for them that I don't even remember what the name of it was. I did a 5e version of The Dying Earth, the Jack Vance. I did a 5e version.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
But I don't think they ever released it. I think they just decided.
No,
at least
Well,
what
I think it was
they
released.
released The Dying Earth, but I think it was DCC. I don't know that they ever released the 5e.
They did it for DCC, but I thought I recall seeing a 5e.
If they
stuff
released
out
my
there.
5e version, I never heard about it and never got a comp copy.
Okay,
So,
maybe they didn't then. I'm
um,
not trying to start a fight between
No,
There
you.
you
I
go,
know.
Roger.
There's no
Stirring up
fight.
trouble.
No fight.
Yeah,
Nothing
right.
but love for the guys at Goodman Games. They're great.
Yeah. Yeah.
They are
They-
a
This is
challenge.
awesome, by the way. This is freaking awesome. My favorite
Yeah.
module of all
It's
time.
very cool. They wanted me to do a lot more, but I was so busy at the time that I kind of had to step back from it and leave it at what I had contributed. But no, I have nothing but love for the guys at Goodman Games.
Yeah.
They're great guys. They can be a real challenge to write for, but it is why their stuff is so high quality. To the point where like the Empire of the East, my brain's not working tonight. I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
yeah.
Empire of the East book. I turned it in and got paid for it. And the Saberhagen estate absolutely loved it, which is the coolest validation you
Cool.
can possibly get.
Mhm.
And then literally a year later, they came back to me and wanted me to do rewrites on it. And I was like,
Wow,
I turned this into you a year ago. You already paid me for it. But it was things that they saw that they felt needed to be done to fill
Yeah.
in gaps to correct. And it's because they're so passionate about what they do and in
Yeah.
getting things right. It's
Yeah,
wild.
I think for
quality.
like Empire of the East and the Fritz Leiber stuff, like I think they did a really good job of like keeping true to, the texts and
Yeah.
all of that.
Empire of the East was so much fun to write. It really was.
Yeah.
I had so much fun writing that. Yeah.
Now-
the only thing the Saberhagen estate kept calling me on is I kept spelling gray wrong. Like it's supposed to be spelled with Gray, and I spelled it
Yeah.
Grey because I go by the gray elf with an E. So I
Yeah.
default to that all the time. But that was just my little thing. But they were super happy with it, and I loved it. I thought it was so fun to write. Actually, when I got the job, somebody else had started writing it and flaked on them.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and they were trying to do it as a Mutant Crawl Classics source book, which is all well and good.
Yeah.
It fits. I mean, it kind of fits.
Yeah,
When it
but
came
no.
to me, it was, I'm not going to say anything bad because I don't know who the other writer was. I have no idea who they are, and I don't want to talk.
Yeah, yeah, sure.
But it needed a ground up rewrite just because it wasn't working what was there.
Yeah.
I said to Joe, MCC is already being billed as a source book for DCC, even though it's kind of a game unto itself. He said, yeah, you're right. I said, so aren't we then doing a source book of a source book? If we do this, we should just make it a Dungeon Crawl Classics source book, and we can spin off of that. And he said, yeah, you're probably right. So
I wasn't happy with MCC, the way it like it sort of got hybridized as like they kind of decided, I think like halfway through or maybe even more, that it was going to be its own game.
Mhm.
And they tried to and then it was kind of billed as that, but there's some stuff I think from the core that's still missing. So you still kind of need to have some DCC knowledge, in there.
The funny thing is, when he asked me to do it, I told him, I said, the only thing is you're going to have to send me a copy of Dungeon Crawl Classics because I don't own your game and I've never played it. And to Joe's credit, he very well at that point could have said, well, I'm going to go find a writer that
actually knows the work. Yeah.
To his credit, he went, that's no problem. I'll send you a copy. You get familiar with it, and then you let me know. And that's the kind of guy Joe is. Joe Goodman he's a great guy. He just really is a good guy. Yeah.
Was it a plan from the beginning to just be a small source book?
It was a
instead
source
of like
book.
a full-fledged thing. Just
it was always intended to be a source book. The length wasn't determined. It was just make it complete, and it'll be as long as it needs to be complete.
Sure.
And CC is rules light enough that we didn't need to do a heavy.
Right. So I would have loved to have seen like a box set or something for it. I don't know if it would have done,
I
as
would have
well.
loved for us to go on and do the Books of Swords.
But sure, yeah, absolutely. To do the whole, and just go down that route of the whole Saberhagen line. I kind of agree with Edgelord here. The Crawling Under the Broken Moon, which became American Survival Guide, was I think a better post-apocalyptic setting and rule set.
For me, it's Mutant Crawl not Mutant Crawl Classics, Mutant Future.
Okay. Yeah.
The
American Survival Guide is very like Thundar heavy, and that was kind of, why I kind of shifted toward that.
Yeah.
MCC was more of like a Gamma World type of thing.
But that's why I like Mutant Crawl Classics, because it's a Gamma World. Yeah, it's a Gamma. Gamma World clone, but not really.
Yeah. And I don't know. I just wanted something different, like American Survival Guide kind of, hit that spot for me. But I do love like Saberhagen and like Empire of the East is just, I love the book, and it's just a great, kind of post-apocalyptic thing that's, far future. I love that, I think you've got stats for the tank in here. I forget what they call it.
The elephant.
The elephant. Yeah.
They call it the elephant. Yeah.
I love that in the book where he's it's Rolf, I think, right? He figures out he finds it in the cave, and he figures out he can control. Here's this like futuristic tank, and it's probably has like a laser cannon on it or whatever it is.
I remember right. He's like he's like a natural tech.
Yeah. But he never uses the thing. He figures out how to drive it, and it's like, that's it. He's like, oh, this is sweet. I'm just going to run through things, and we got to get through that wall. I'm just going to slam into it a bunch of times until it, slips into the river and just, and it's gone. But I thought that was awesome. He's like driving a tank around and has no idea that it's like could be so much more than.
I also like the fact that they have in the second book, they have back to tanks a decade before Star Wars came up with it.
Yeah. No, there's a lot of cool stuff in this art, and I see you got it behind you.
I do. Yeah.
I love this art. I don't know. It's just amazing.
It is. It's super, super cool artwork.
So
that was again. It's been a minute since I wrote that and since I looked through it, but I remember having a lot of fun writing it and reading the books. And the funny thing about those books, I don't know if anybody's ever read the trilogy, but it's like reading a video game write-up, because it's literally they go through levels of difficulty and then fight a boss
Mhm.
monster at the end of each book. Yeah.
That's the Book of Swords you're talking about, or
No,
the
that's
or
Empire
Empire
of the East books,
Empire of
the
the East.
3 books
Yeah,
in the trilogy.
I've read the first 2, and
Okay.
then I've read the
Oh, the third one is where you get Ardna and Orcus.
and I've read the first one over again,
Yeah.
more recently, and that's as far as I've gotten. But
Yeah,
yeah,
you got to read the third
Yeah.
one because the third one's where Orcus shows up.
well, they mention.
They
I think
mention
he's
Orcus.
mentioned in the first
mention
book, right?
him.
Yeah.
It shows up
Yeah.
in the third book.
Okay.
It has a fight with Ardna, and it's epic. Yeah.
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 And I don't remember if they mentioned like Ardna being like the AI or whatever until
That's in the third book.
later, or if
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
But
Just
I
spoiler
love
alert
that,
for
like,
everybody in the chat.
yeah. Yeah, it's cool stuff. Yeah, the Orcus stuff is cool with the the nuclear weapons and stuff go off, and it kind of creates that, and I mean it's just awesome stuff. So
And it's
I
where a
thought it
lot
was
of
really
people
cool
don't
setting.
realize this. Those Empire of the East books, that's where the D&D idea of metal armor interfering with magic comes from. Because
Interesting.
in the Empire of the East, wizards cannot cast spells in the presence of steel that is
Yeah.
being used in the purpose of violence. So if somebody shows up on a battlefield and draws a sword, a wizard is useless. They can't cast magic. So that's where the general idea of metal interfering with magic in D&D came from.
That's
Yeah.
interesting.
Gygax kind of put his own, just like he did with Vancian magic, put his own kind of spin on it
Yeah.
and just made it like wizards can't wear metal armor. But that's where the original concept came from.
Yeah. Well, if you took it to that extreme, wizards would be near useless.
In D&D, yeah.
Which I mean, Gygax probably would have been fine with, but yeah, no, that's interesting. Yeah, it's definitely interesting to look back at the old books and see where that stuff comes from. And you mentioned Vancian magic, and when you read Jack Vance, you really you read it and you're like, oh yeah, this is exactly where this makes
exactly
sense.
where it came from, but
Yeah.
D&D really nerfs it because
Yeah.
spells in the Dying Earth are ridiculous. Like every
Yeah.
spell in
Sure.
the Dying Earth, like even the most simple ones are 6th, 7th level D&D stuff.
Yeah.
You know?
Right.
Yeah.
And that's why, like in DCC, I think they did there's pros and cons, right? I mean, I complain about the spell casting system. I think it goes way out of bounds, in a hurry. But I do enjoy that, it's roll to cast. You can fail, and you can have like some critical.
I have that in
horrible
Wastelands
thing
actually.
happen.
If you fail a spell casting roll, you have to roll on a spell failure table.
Cool.
The thing that I am not crazy about DCC in the Magic system is, again, I've said this about a couple games. I don't like rules that slow down play at the table.
Mm-hmm.
And the Magic system in DCC, which requires you to roll on a spell casting table every time you cast a spell, slows down the game.
Sure.
So
Sure. Especially if you get like the higher results, there's generally the higher the result, the more there is to read, the more rolls that you need to make, the more that needs to be adjudicated. You like summon a monster or summon animal or whatever it is, right, in DCC, and you get a low number, and it's like, okay, you get 3 birds, but it's like, oh, you rolled a 32 on the spell check. Okay, well, you get 14 dinosaurs that all have 10 D14 hit points, and like, what I mean, or whatever it is, it's just a ridiculous kind of thing. And then it's like, now you got to figure all of this stuff out before you can move on.
right.
So yeah, it's interesting. Yeah, Edgelord, that's yeah, I mean, I kind of I like doing one shots and like funnels and stuff in DCC. I tried running the campaign with the American Survival Guide there, and it was fun, but the magic system got really out of control. Clerics and stuff, just being able to like roll a 30 regularly for like bless or anything else got just crazy.
I heard a really interesting house rule that somebody told me about for DCC, which was they only roll on the spell casting table the first time you cast the spell, and then
Well, and then that's the
whatever result you get, that's what happens every time you cast a spell after that. Which I
That's
thought
interesting.
was a really interesting take. Yeah.
That's interesting. Yeah, because then everybody's spell is going to be different, and yeah, yeah. My wife put all. That's what happens. That's what happens. You know,
I was like,
and
fuck.
it's funny, yeah, because like I joke like my the thing I usually go to is I talk about like darkness. Like you'll go to cast darkness and like you might blow a candle out or block out the sun for 9 weeks, like, you know, or like something crazy. Or like, yeah, you're like, oh, there's 3 goblins. I want to put them to sleep. I was like, oh, I rolled a crit. Oh, what is this? What's a 30? Oh, you put everybody within a 5-mile radius to sleep for 100 years or whatever. It's like, what is going on? Yeah. it's nuts. Yeah. So that's, I mean, yeah, it definitely, I think if you like cap most of the spells at like 20, it would probably be fine.
Yeah.
It's, you know, it's the higher, you know, kind of thing. But so in your system, you just have, it's a pass, fail, or critical fail type of thing.
Yes. If you fail to cast a spell, you have to roll on a spell failure table.
Oh, okay.
And what you do is you roll a d20 and add the spell level to the d20, and then the result tells you it can be anything from the spell just doesn't work to you summon a Cthulhuid horror from the deeper dark that just starts eating everything around it.
Oh, nice.
And of course, because you're adding the spell level, the higher level the spell you try to cast,
Yeah.
the worse your potential failure is going to be.
The higher, well, the better, right? Because you want to summon Cthulhu.
No,
so
because
that-
he'll eat you too.
Well, yeah, but then he can take his rightful place, right?
It'll. Let's see if I can find the table in here real quick. I'll tell you what the minimum one is. Just the spell doesn't work, and that's it. The spell doesn't
Yeah,
work.
yeah.
Fine, just move on.
That's interesting. Yeah.
There it is. Spell
Is your night shift game the same system, same setup?
Yes.
Or
Yeah, 100% the same. Now, if you buy Night Shift now, it's still going to be because it's still selling through its first print, which was OGL, so it will still have the D&D terminology in it and the D&D spell names, but it is the same system. And I have been trying. I have a booklet that you can download on my website that converts the OGL version to the new version, and I've been trying to send print versions of that booklet as I can when people buy it.
I've been skimming it while we've been chatting here. It looks,
Yeah.
I'm a Buffy fan, so
Oh,
cool.
okay.
when you said
Okay.
that,
So
I was
is
like, oh, that sounds cool.
Is the plan to redo Night Shift? Is that
Yeah, the PDF version has already been updated.
Oh, PDF is updated? Okay.
Yeah, the PDF has already
When
been
you run
updated.
out of books,
When I run out of books,
out of
the next
hardcovers, you're going to
printing
do
will-
another printing.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
Okay,
the lowest
cool.
spell fire table is the spell simply fails to work. The worst, which is if you roll a 26 or higher, the spell creates an explosion centers on the caster with a 30-foot radius, dealing 1d6 damage per spell level to everyone in the radius. The people can make an agility save for half damage, and the spellcaster gains an addition. I have a corruption mechanic that the spellcaster gains an additional 1d6 points of corruption. All spells are lost, and the caster can't use magic until they prepare spells again. That's if they survive the explosion. So that's the worst possible result from a spell failure. But you have to get a 26 or better. So your spell that you're casting would have to be a minimum of 6th level, and at 6th level you'd have to roll a natural 20.
Natural 20, yeah.
So
Interesting, yeah.
yeah, 22
Yeah.
to 23 is that spell summons a demon or undead with a number of vitality dice equal to the spell's level, and the caster gains additional corruption. The creature's immediately hostile towards the caster and their allies. So
Cool. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's the type, but it can be you just lose the spell. It can be you get knocked out for 1d6 minutes. It can be you forget so many spells that you had prepared, things like that. So
Yeah. Anything that's cool. That's awesome. So what else? Do you have anything else that's coming up that you want to plug?
Right
or-
now, I'm working on those Amazing Adventures books that we talked about.
Yeah,
I am
nice.
gradually working on the GM screens for 13 Parsecs. The screens themselves are laid out. I'm working on the booklets that are going to go with them for 13 Parsecs and
Okay.
Wastelands.
Are there
Um,
PDFs available for the GM screens or?
There are GM
Yes or
screen
no?
inserts available on Drive-Through RPG. Yeah.
Okay.
The
Okay,
print
cool.
screens will be a little bit different. They'll have the same material on them, but they'll
Sure.
be a little bit different. So I'm slowly working on that, and I'm slowly working on the revisions and the layout for second print of Night Shift.
Okay, cool. So that should be coming soon, you think? I mean,
When I'm closer, when I'm down to like one box of books left, then we're gonna
we're
do
still
a.
okay. So we're still a ways. So we
I
don't.
still have
Okay.
a couple boxes of books left. When I'm down
Yeah.
to like one box of books, then I'll start working on the Kickstarter campaign for the next printing of Night Shift. So, and I
Oh,
do-
okay. You'll do a campaign. Okay.
Yeah, I do have to say that there is a game on BackerKit right now called Night Shift Demon Hunters or something like that.
Yeah,
Not
I saw that.
Has absolutely nothing to do with me. I do have a registered trademark on Night Shift, but I have talked to those guys and we have settled on a mutual existence agreement so that I won't mess with their shit and they won't mess with mine. They're in the UK anyways, so I can't really enforce a trademark on them. I only reached out because it's really unpleasant, but you're required by law. If somebody uses Night Shift,
Yeah.
I now have to contact them or I lose my trademark. So it's not
Yeah,
like I'm
right,
trying to
right.
pick. I don't have a choice in the matter.
Yeah.
But
No, absolutely.
but yeah, so I've worked with those guys and we have agreed on a mutual existence clause or whatever. I forget what it's called, but it's basically we agree not to mess with each other's shit, and we agree to be clear with everybody as often as we can that I'm not affiliated with them and they're not affiliated with me. So
Yeah. Cool.
their game looks pretty cool, so people should check it out. But just
I mean,
know that it's
I
not
saw it come up and it has the word anime in the brief
Yeah, it's very,
description, and I was out.
They're pushing hard the anime aspect. They're very anime
Yeah.
and manga influenced. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
I'm out. Like that's if it says anime or magna whatever magna
Manga.
in the thing, I'm
Manga.
done. I'm just
Yeah, I'm not a big
Yeah.
fan either of the anime manga thing. There's a few exceptions, but for the most part, I don't get into it.
yeah. And the books are all backwards. I don't know how that works. You got to read them back to front.
That's because in Japan, everything's from right to left. Everything's written
I know. It's the way they write Japan. I know. I'm not an idiot.
But
No,
it always seems stupid to me that they carry over just the back to front thing in English translations. Like, if you're going to translate the thing to English, just make it front to back like we do it here. Just
Yeah.
do it. Go all in. Don't.
or go all in and convert it to English, but put the words in backwards too, so that you have to actually
Yeah,
read
you
it
have to
right,
look in a mirror.
right to left, top to bottom, or something. Yeah. Or you hold it up to a mirror. But yeah, I don't know. That's whatever.
I'm
That's-
sure that would go over well, Roger.
Yeah. Well, if they want authentic, right? People will love that. They want authentic. So yeah. So Agile Monks that's why he has a great IP and TTRPG attorney.
Yep, and it's
Yeah.
funny because when we chose the name Night Shift, nobody was using it. Nobody had used it for anything. In the past 3 years alone, I've had to defend that trademark like 6 times. Like now, suddenly everybody in the world wants to use Night Shift for their games. So
Wow.
yeah,
That's
which is
interesting.
why I put a TM on it right away. But that's why I ended up registering it because I was having to fight it too often. So
Yeah.
I paid this stupid, ridiculous cost of the registered trademark and went through the hoops and got the little R in the circle. So,
Yeah. Well, I mean, you got to do what you got to do to protect,
Yep.
your thing. And I mean, it sucks that you have to, go after everybody, I mean,
It does.
I
but
understand it
it's
though.
reasonable. Again, like these guys, I said, we agreed to just do a mutual,
Yeah.
mutual existence.
No, and I get it. You have to, because then later, if somebody comes out with something and it's a direct copy, then they can't, you can't go after them because then the court says, well, why didn't you go after these people or whatever, so you
Exactly.
have to. Yeah, no, I get it. you know.
And in the end, the mutual agreement thing helps everybody because they have now acknowledged my ownership of the trademark, and it's going to be in print somewhere that they've acknowledged that. We have a contract, so
Yeah.
that helps strengthen my ownership. And it was a lose-lose situation because they're in the UK and Japan. I can't enforce a US trademark there. They at the same time can't enforce a UK trademark here. So what was going to happen? They were going to tell me I couldn't publish in Europe, and I was going to tell them they couldn't publish here. Nobody wins there. So you just come to an agreement that benefits everybody as best you can.
Sure.
And if there's brand confusion, hey, maybe their game takes off and goes gangbusters, and people confuse mine for theirs, and then I win.
There you go. Sure.
So
right.
Or the other way around for them. And if that happens too for them, great. I'm happy for them.
Yeah.
So,
that's fantastic.
You got nobody. We're all small publishers here, and we all have to defend our brand, but we also have to work together. We can't.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. And that, you know, and you know, I mean, I kind of said that earlier too, right? But like all these people, like, I mean, I'm small fish here, right? I'm like, even Stan Ducato there, he's got a bigger channel than me, like, you know, but you're at what, 400 something?
Yeah,
Stan?
like 409 or 410.
So I'm at like 165, but you know, like I want to do what I can for anybody that's, you know, smaller than me, or for not even smaller, like just to help get word out and like advertise and, you know what I mean, push stuff, you know, for people. And like, we're all in this together, right? To like make the hobby, you know, hopefully better. Yeah. High tide lifts all boats. Yeah.
High tide lifts all boats.
You
The
know.
only exception to that, I would say, is Wizards of the Coast.
So, well, you know, they're cool now. They got the one guy in, and he apologized. That makes all these years of everything fine.
Specifically, what I mean, though, is that WotC's success is completely separate from the success of the rest of the industry.
No, I agree.
Born out over time. If D&D were to go away tomorrow, none of us would unduly suffer for it. But some of us would actually gain from it, because if 1% of those D&D players go looking for another game, their death then is going to raise us up. But 99% of the people that play D&D 5e play D&D 5e. They don't play other games.
Right. Yeah.
So,
but I think a lot of that, right? And I mean, this is like a whole episode, you know, topic, but I think a lot of that is because that's the name that's on the tin. And then people see, okay, Dungeons and Dragons, because like I've been running Shadowdark. Before that, it was Castles and Crusades. Before that, it was Basic Fantasy, right? Before that, it was DCC, American Survival Guide, you know, and all this stuff, right? Like I've run countless one shots, right, of all these different systems and all that stuff. But every time I've done it, I say, hey, you know, come over for D&D. You know what I mean? Like, or, you know, hey, we're playing Castles and Crusades, but I mean, I still call it D&D, right? It's like the Kleenex thing, right? Like that's just the
Kleenex or Xerox or
but it's the name, right? That's associated with the thing. So I think, you know, people coming into the hobby, they see that and they're like, oh, D&D Dungeons and Dragons, like what's that? And so they go to the, you know, the starter boxes or whatever, and they play it. And like we had a kid, right, that was in this class that I was running, and he went, and I felt bad, right? He spent $200 on, you know, the 3 core books and dice and the, you know, the whole thing and everything else. He's having some issues and all of that. And I invited him over. We started an hour late. He couldn't make it, you know, and I invited him into the game the week before last. And, you know, I was running Shadowdark, and he was like, wow, this is awesome. Like the book is $40. It's got the basic rule set of everything. It plays quick. You know, it's got all this stuff. And, you know, but people see the name on the tin as D&D, and they get into that. And then once you're in and you're invested into it, like, I don't know, do you really want to buy more books and stuff? Like, look, we're all old enough to the point now where, like, you know, I mean, I have a problem, you can tell, right? Like I you know, I keep buying books, and, you know, that maybe, you know, all of us here have a lot, you know, more books than we should. But people who are getting into the game, like once they spend, you know, $100 into the game, like, you know, for them to switch a game, I think it's difficult. So I think that's why they keep their numbers the way that it is. I guess that's a long roundabout explanation, but
Yeah, I think there are people who play D&D specifically, and there are people who are gamers who play
Sure.
tabletop role playing games. And I think a lot D&D has a disproportionate number of people that are brand loyal.
Sure. For some reason, I still can't figure out why,
Yeah.
but that's why I wanted to do this channel to talk about different things. That's why I run a convention where and I keep saying, like, if you want to come to my convention and play or run 5e, like, do so. I just hope that the people who are playing 5e, like, I don't want them to show up and just play 5e games. I want them to show up and play different games and see what
Right.
else is out there, and all of that. And so hopefully, hopefully together, right, we can all do this and, take away a small market share of Wizards of the Coast and give it to, people like you.
Yeah.
So, and I think slowly, like, I think WotC is, starting to do it to themselves, with all this
I mean,
stuff.
We keep joking about how they're okay now. They apologize to Luke, but I think the new head of D&D is actually trying to make things right. I think he seems to be a genuine fan of D&D who cares about the history of the game
Sure.
and the legacy of it, and I think he's actually trying to course correct. Now, he? We'll see.
But for me at this point, it's like it's too little, too late.
Yeah, I
Like,
see that.
Like I don't care if this guy comes in and says, "Hey, you know what? We're gonna go back to first edition, and we're just gonna work on that, and we're gonna reprint that, and it doesn't matter to me anymore." You know what I mean?
Right.
We're gonna put Gygax and Arneson, their names back on the cover. Like, but I don't care anymore.
They need to just
there's
license
been
Castle
so
and
much.
Crusades and rebrand it as D&D.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. I've heard that they're doing some stuff. Supposedly, there's a company that supposedly is licensed BX from Wizards, and they're going to remake it, and it's going to be a licensed, like an actual licensed game. That's like a reprint of BX.
And you know what's funny? I'm gonna be. This is gonna be such a shit take that people are gonna kill me on, but BX is the absolute last system we need more of.
What are you talking about?
It's
We
a great
need
system.
another.
It's
we
a
need
great
another-
system, but they've been cloning it for how long?
We need
There's
another
so
BX
much-
clone.
There is so
There's
much
not enough.
BX out there.
Yeah, no, you're not wrong. Yeah,
There is.
yeah.
There is. And I mean, I loved it for a little while because I was a BX fan. That's what brought me into the hobby. But with Moldvay Basic and the Earl Otis cover. But
love
yeah,
the-
I get it.
The X Companion that the guy put out like in the early 2000s.
Yeah.
I
was
have that.
really good. Yeah, I took it and he did it really well because he organized it in the exact same way as the BX books, so that everything was on the same pages, so that you could put it in
Yeah.
a binder with it. I actually took PDFs of BX and the BX Companion, split them up like you would if you were going to put them in a binder, and then had them made into a hardcover on Lulu.
Yeah. Yeah. And Steven, you're right. We had Basic Fantasy, right? But Basic Fantasy did certain things. They went to Ascending Armor class and things like that, right? And I played that. I have that. I ran it, right?
Yep,
Labyrinth Lord did the same thing, and they took things in a different direction.
Now,
And all
what
these
happened?
BX
What happened
clones.
what happened with the new edition of Labyrinth Lord? That
This
totally
is
got,
advanced
Yeah.
Laboratory.
yeah,
Well,
but no.
yeah.
There was a new one. There was a new edition that he was working on for several years,
Yeah.
and
I
then
don't
at the
know.
last thing last year, all of a sudden it pretty much got canceled, and now it was just a reprint of Labyrinth Lord.
Oh, I don't know.
Yeah.
I haven't.
He had
talked-
I don't
I
know.
mean, I know Dan, but I haven't talked to him in a while, so
There were some big changes that were going to happen with it, and then
I didn't actually.
it kind of got thrown to the wayside, I guess.
Because Labyrinth Lord is actually my favorite retro clone of all.
Okay.
Of them.
You
To me,
know-
Labyrinth Lord is the only one that when I read it, it feels like I'm reading D&D.
Oh, okay. I mean, I enjoy some parts. Like, I enjoy that the fighter is the only one that increases his fighting ability. Like, I think that's a really cool, addition to that. And no, I mean, I think it's fine. I think it's a very well done BX clone. Basic Fantasy. I went to Basic Fantasy because at the time the softcover books were print on demand for $5.
Mm,
And I think the soft covers are up to $8 or $9 now, which is fantastic
It's still
because
cheap.
when I wanted to play with a group of 6 people, I bought all the books and I spent $60 on books for everybody, which, if you play D&D or whatever, that's the cost of one book.
right.
So, and it's great. I can hand them out to people. Here you go. Hey, you want to play, and so that really works, for introducing people, I think.
What kind of kills me about WotC at this point is, they've done the damage throughout the course of 5e of driving away old school players, but they have the ability, when they did the memorial reprints, they sold really well, and I'm like,
I
you
bought
know,
all-
yeah. Well, I didn't buy the 2e ones because I have so many 2e books, but I bought the 1e ones.
I did it just to support the effort. I bought the OD&D, the 2E, and the 1E. Yeah.
Yeah, but what I don't understand is you've driven those people away, and a lot of them are not coming back, no matter what you do.
Right.
But
Yeah.
they're not going to play 5e. They're not going to play 5.5. They're not going to play 6e. Whatever you come out with. But if you reprinted 1e, they'd buy your books.
Yeah.
Or if you
Yeah.
reprinted 2e, they might buy your books. Or even 3e or 4e. They own all of it. You've already fractured the community in that way. Why not capitalize on it and make the money and give the people what they
Yeah.
want?
If they did another reprint of first edition books, I guarantee they'd
premium
make a ton of money on it.
The premium reprints of AD&D are available in print on demand.
in print on demand.
Yeah, but if they did like real, like saddle stitched with,
right,
with
With
bookmarked
and-
ribbons
yeah.
and stuff, people for
Yeah.
like $100 a piece, people
So-
would be all over that.
I actually regret to this day. I regret selling my leather-bound 3.5 books. I had the leather-bound anniversary edition 3.5, and I sold.
I got
it.
the players handbook right there.
Yeah.
I don't know if you could see it on stream, but I bought the 3 core books. These
Mhm.
are the originals.
Yep, I have them.
This was a print on demand, and
Yeah.
you could see
Yeah.
the colors are different. It's glossy.
The
you
glossy
know-
thing's annoying because you can do
These
Back.
have,
finish on print on demand.
these have the gold on them, the ribbons.
Mhm.
Yeah.
They're just I don't know. They're just not the same. And then, like Against the Slavers, I don't know if they have a hardcover, but this one was sent to me by somebody, but it's soft cover. If you buy the 2e books now from there, they're soft cover. They don't even have a hardcover option.
Oh, really?
So it's like if if they
Yeah.
if they started printing this stuff again and started printing the old modules and whatever and just I don't know, man. It's they could open it up and they could capture a huge audience. Not that I'm promoting it because WotC's been a shit company that's been really bad, but
Yeah.
for the people that still play it, imagine if they said, okay, 2E, we're going to reprint the core books and Tome of Magic, and we're going to do a few other ones. You can get the other stuff print on demand, but we're going to open it up on DM's Guild so you can publish directly for 2E. There would be people that would jump on that, and there would be
Yeah.
more stuff coming out. Well, half of that money's going to WotC, and of course that still sucks. But it does open it up. Their licensing is pretty horrible if you want to be a third party seller because they're taking half of your cut.
Yeah.
But it's,
Yeah, people always ask me why I don't publish my books on print on demand on Drive Through RPG. It's because the cut that they take off of you at that place is criminal.
yeah,
Absolutely criminal. They take off your print on demand stuff.
yeah.
So,
Yeah. It's crazy. So we're at about 2 hours and 50 minutes. What do you guys have anything else that you guys want to anything that you're dying to ask Jason Vey about AA or any of his Ogres games?
nobody cares.
No one cares about your stuff, man. We're just here to complain about WotC
Rod
and talk
Dangerfield
about the good old
game
days.
designers, I get no respect.
No,
Back to Kickstarter for AA. I got the leatherette covers. I love them.
Yeah.
I love playing the game, and I don't get to play it enough.
Awesome. Awesome.
Um,
Those are actually leather, not leatherette.
Okay, even better.
oh,
Yeah.
they're leather. Oh, now I'm even more jealous.
Yeah. Walsworth, to my knowledge, uses actual leather in their
Cool.
covers.
Okay, cool.
And I
I
should
think
say
it's great.
too, much like Troll Lord, I do all of my production domestically. Nothing gets sent to China. Nothing comes in from.
Oh,
overseas.
I
nice.
like that.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's good. It's hard to do, nowadays. I mean, I know that there's a lot of things that people are starting to, produce stuff here, and like I think there's been an influx because of everything, in the last few years, and so now it's almost harder in some instances because I think all the print houses here are kind of overloaded
Yeah.
with work. But I think we'll get there. I think it'll hopefully pick up, and more print shops will open and start
Well,
doing stuff.
as more and more people realize that when you send something to China to get published, China's going to steal it. It's going to be
Oh, absolutely.
published
Yeah.
in China by not you,
Sure.
and nothing you can do about it. It's
Yeah.
going to be translated and published, and you're not going to see a dime. They will steal it. That's what China does.
Yeah. Right.
So,
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. But they
You've
don't
just
have any.
redeemed yourself from your Star Wars slander. Thank
Say
Yeah,
you.
what?
they don't.
You've just redeemed yourself from your Star Wars
Star
slander.
Wars thing. Hey, I didn't say I didn't like Wedge. I just said I liked Saga Edition better.
Listen, you said everything that I have said about their D6 system, and usually these guys try and crucify me for that. So I'm glad that
I
we're
will
on the
say
same
this.
page.
I
here.
will say this. I could prove my cred, but it would take me a minute. I have almost every single Wedge D6 Star Wars book on my shelf in my bedroom. I own almost every one, plus some fan publications that I had published in soft, that I had like made for myself in soft puck cover. So I get Wedge. I just liked Saga Edition a little better. That's all.
Yeah. No, I hear you, and that's perfectly fine.
We had a really
Um,
fun story about we were playing Star Wars Saga Edition, and our characters were in. This was the DM being just not thinking right. I don't want to say he was dumb because he's not a dumb guy, but he wasn't thinking straight. He had us in this corridor that was filled with water, and he's describing it. The corridor's like flooded, half flooded, ankle deep with water, and there's electrical wires hanging out of the wall and sparking and throwing sparks, and the stormtroopers are coming down at you, and you're standing right at the edge of all this water, And I'm like, and we're not in the water, right? And he's like, no. And I'm like, and the stormtroopers are marching towards us. And he said, yes. I use the force and take a sparking electrical wire and put it in the water. He goes, do you have that power? I went, it's a light object. It's a basic use the force check. So he goes, let me see that book. And he opens the book and he throws it down on the floor and goes, Jedi fucking win this game. My buddy Ross goes to the DM. He goes, Ken, it's Star Wars.
Yeah.
Yeah, awesome. Yeah, and like I said, we've had a good time, playing it. It's just I think later on later on higher levels where with Jedi is where you start to have problems.
Yeah, the fistfuls of D6. Now there was a D6 revival in the early mid aughts that did the thing that I was talking about, where you had metaphysics as the attribute and then the alter sensing control below it. They had a rule in there where you would never roll more than five or 8 D6s, and then everything after that was like automatic success, or it was 4 or something like that. It was just 4.
And we talked about like a house rule, or I think something somewhere that says we cap it at 10 dice or something, and that's probably
and it was like anything in your
fine.
code after that limit was a flat number that you just added, which is a neat way to solve that problem of waiting for the addition.
Yeah, right. That's I mean that's always an issue. I don't know. I've got enough problems with people adding +6 to a D20 roll. If they have to add more than 3 numbers together, it's like, forget it.
If that's the case, don't play AD&D, Roger.
That is
No,
exactly what I said.
It's like one
Yes.
well, it was one player. I don't know what
Don't play
He had
Palladium.
some issues, but yeah, don't play Palladium.
Roger, back to what you just said though about like you said at high levels it starts to break down.
Yeah,
That's true about most RPGs.
Sure.
That's
yeah,
true.
It really
no,
is.
absolutely.
Yeah,
Sure.
almost every game
Sure.
breaks down after a certain level
Sure.
when your characters just get unreasonably
Yeah.
powerful. Yeah.
No, you're absolutely right. But like that was my like of playing Star Wars D6, right? Like or D6 Star Wars. Like that was what I remembered. Like I don't remember anything about the game. I don't remember about things that we did in the game. What I remember is we had a Jedi and he had 2 fistfuls of dice and just plopped them all down and then set about, like setting aside all of the 6s and 4s and then the 5s and you know what I mean? So he can easily like add them up. And it took him like, it probably took him a minute, but like, when we're sitting there playing and I'm watching this guy organize dice to like add the thing up, I mean, it's like, it's forever. You know what I mean? It's like, come on, man. Like, what do and so like, that's the part that I remember. And so like when Jason was like, hey, D6 is amazing, we should play it. I'm like, fuck no, I'm out. Like, cause that's the memory that comes into my head when I think about that.
Tell him
You know?
you'll play D6 if he'll play My Little Pony.
There you go. There you go. I'll run My Little Pony.
Since we've come back to that subject, not
My Little Pony
things, I'm not playing that shit ever. Well, actually, I did put a stipulation, and I would play it as long as I got to play a Hellsteed, and I could stomp the ponies with my fiery hooves and my eyes ablaze, blood dripping. That would please
really
me
quick.
very
Let me just tell Jason this. So maybe a month ago, I said on stream, I said, okay, if we get 200 subs by next week, I'll run a My Little Pony game live. And then like I mentioned it again, and Jason like literally tells me afterwards, he's like, you got to cut that shit out or we're going to actually end up doing that.
It didn't happen. So anyway, Roger, you said a number of times that you don't like going to higher level because it gets out of hand, and I agree with that.
Yeah.
The problem with being forced to continually play low level is that you always feel low level.
Yeah.
Right. Sure. Yes.
One of the few times that I can remember not being high level but feeling high level. This would have been back in '93. I think we were playing second edition. We may have been playing first edition. I was playing a paladin, and when I was around 5th level, we would be in town and people would start coming up to me asking for my blessing, or like beggars would approach me, and I'm a paladin, so of course here's a copper piece, there's a silver piece. And one day I was around 8th level. In fact, I think I had just gotten 8th level, and we went into town. The entire village was waiting for my character to enter the village, and they were holding their children up waiting for my blessing. And
wow.
This is '93, so I'm 22 years old, and I was like, I looked at the DM. His name was Tom. Tom, what is going on here? And he went, Jason, you are the highest level paladin on the entire continent. And that's when I realized, wow, we're low level or mid level, if you want to call it that. But in this world, we're demigods. We're Hercules walking around.
Yep.
And so that kind of cured me. Low level again. Here we go. Because you might be low level, but the common man is still 0 level with 1 or 2 hit points.
Yeah.
Yep.
And so that made me feel not so low level at that point. That's for me. That was the way to fix that problem.
It's funny because when you started telling that story and you said you were 8th level, my brain was like, "That's not low level. That's like high level."
Right.
Yeah, that's high level, 8th level. Yeah.
But the problem is a lot of DMs, and we talk about 5th edition, especially nowadays, or you get so many. The Dungeons and Dragons movie, which sucked donkey balls, those characters looked like they were level 30 with the nonsense they were doing. And so when people think about Dungeons and Dragons, they think about the great heroic stuff that level 8s can never do. So if you make a level 8 character obviously more powerful or more important or more influential than the common man, that mid-level character no longer feels mid-level. He feels like a high-level character to the player.
Sure.
That's my point to that. Yes, and I agree. 8th level is not low level. That's mid-level to me. Anyway,
Yeah.
that's all.
No. You're on it. Yeah. No, I hear you. I hear you. And yeah, I don't know. We'll, like I said, we'll see like how it goes. Like, and I mean, when I say low level, like, and like, I hate to have people keep like restarting at like first level. I mean, but I don't know what the alternative is there. Like, I hate starting people at higher levels because generally people, I don't know, it just doesn't work out generally. But
Well, in
I
our
think
group, that's proven to be a terrible idea. We had a
yeah,
cleric that was high level that had no clue what he was doing in the party wipe.
We had a funny story
Okay.
that we were going to jump into a game. Julie, my wife, and I were going to jump into a game with these people, and they said they were 10th level characters. And we were going to make, this was 3rd edition. We were going to, and told us to make 10th level characters and use the rules, just the rules in the DMG for equipping your higher, starting at higher level, whatever.
yeah,
So, but then she was going to run a wizard, and he told us that he was anal about tracking spell components. If you don't literally have pinch of sulfur written down on your character sheet, you can't cast a fireball. Which, in 3rd edition, having a spell casting pouch was supposed to cover all of your spell components that didn't have a gold piece value, but he refused. No, you have to actually gather every single spell component for every single, which, all right, whatever. So we went in and we made sure we got her, spell components for everything she had to do. We spent the gold, a lot of the gold. But then there's a thing in 3rd edition that he didn't think about in the GM's guide for what magic items you get if you start as a higher level character. So I got her wands. I got her so many wands.
Yeah.
So she just had like this arsenal of magic wands with like 50 charges each, magic missile and fireball and lightning bolt and, whatever she needed. So we got around his like anal retentive pinch of silver thing that way.
yeah. You
But-
never need to memorize a spell that way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Jason, we've talked about that with my group. The fact that we're continually playing low level these days. Like I tell the story about when we were teenagers and stuff, and we had characters that hit 10th level. We had a group that hit 12th. We didn't have a ton of high level, but we had plenty of games that reached 8th level, 7th level,
Yeah.
that kind of stuff, and we had some higher ones. But these days we get into games, and a lot of times by the time you hit 4th level, the game's falling apart for some reason.
Because we're all
And-
adults and we have other
Right.
lives now. Yeah.
Right. So part of the conversation that we've had about it, and I've told them, I've got like one guy that's like, oh, I quit this group because it was kind of Monty Hall and this and that. And I said, well, listen, if you're so concerned that we never hit higher levels, then it's time to up the power levels a little bit as you go. You
Right.
get some more items, you get some more stuff to make the game fun while you're playing it. And I've always played in 2nd edition. We always played it. You got experience for those magic items. I know those awards by the book are for creating the items. We never had players creating magic items, really.
No.
We gave those awards out for finding them. And I'll be honest, it's still, you could play 2 years and hit 12th level in 2 years playing every week. So I don't think giving out the experience for that is any big deal at all. So
We're almost 4 years in, and the highest level character we have is 9th, and that's
Yeah.
the rogue because it's a rogue, so they don't need as much. And I give XP for magic items.
do you play every week with that group?
No, we play twice a month,
Yeah.
sometimes
And that's
3.
CNC.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
My Wasted Lands Conan game, the characters have played. Now it started off as OD&D / my original Spellcraft and Swordplay game, but the XP progression is roughly similar. I would play for and again, this game's been going on for about 15 years now, but it's in spates of like 2 years, and then we're off for a couple years because other people are running games, and then 2 years, and then so I would say maybe 4 or 5 years it's been going on. They're 7th level after 4 or 5 years of
Yeah.
Yeah.
total.
That's where we're at. Well, that was the funny thing because we switched from 5th edition, and everybody in my group except for my son had all played like, basic, expert, AD&D, all that stuff. So, but we switched from 5e. We'd been playing 5e, and I was running that. And by the time that campaign over, I couldn't be done with that system soon enough. And switched to Castles and Crusades. And one of the things we didn't really think about, but turned out we liked it, was the slower leveling, because in 5e you level really quick.
Yeah.
And they like it. I like it. So it's worked out really well for us.
I was really used to the leveling in CNC because I was just so used to playing AD&D.
Right.
Yeah,
right.
we hadn't played
Yeah.
AD&D in forever. So.
To be honest, I'd probably still be playing CNC if it wasn't for Siege. I'm just not a fan of it. I mean, there's certain aspects of it that I don't like. We played it for a few years, and it was a lot of fun. I don't take anything from it, but there's I don't know. There's a lot of things that aren't in the books, things that are just very vague. And when I ask about it, Steve will be like, "Oh, well, we left it vague like that to do what you want." Well, that's fine, but what would end up happening was we'd play our CNC games, and I would have my 2E books on the table to fill in the blanks. And after so much of doing that, we were just like, why aren't we just playing 2E? So that's where we ended up back at. But like my daughter, she ran. My daughter's 18. 2 years ago, she decided she wanted to get into it and run her own game for a bunch of teenage kids. And she started with 5e with the starter set. And they played through that, and then afterwards she was like, I don't really like this. It's too powerful. So I bought them all CNC books, and that's what they played. She ran 2 campaigns of CNC with her friends. And it's weird. It's weird to come back here because I come back in this room, and I've got, my business is 3D printing, so I've got terrain everywhere. And I come back here, and here's my daughter with 5 other teenage girls, table set up with terrain, playing Castles and Crusades. And it's like
Another problem with 5e is it's so damn complicated. Like every monster needs a full page stat block. Like, come on. Like I miss the days, which again I went back to in my game, where a monster was defined by its hit dice. If you knew what hit dice the monster was, you knew what it was adding to saves, you knew what it was adding to attack rolls. Like hit dice told you everything you needed to know. You didn't need to know all 6 of its attributes and its saves and what it was specialized in, what skills it had, and what you had its hit dice and any special abilities it had, and you were done.
I think what's even worse, though, I agree with you. The stat blocks are out of control in that. But what's even worse is the amount of things that every character has to do. So every time it comes around to their turn, the game comes to a crawl. As some of these guys are just paralyzed, looking at their sheet and all the things. And, well, what should I do? And what am I going to use for my bonus? And what am I going to... It's, I don't know.
Yep.
That's why we're, kind of digging Shadow Dark at this point.
Yeah.
Where it's a big break from that, where it's like, wow, this is fantastic. It's like boom, boom, boom. Like I'm running my 4-hour sessions, and we're ending like an hour early, getting 2 or 3 times more done than we would get done if I was running CNC.
Right.
Yep.
Because the game is moving so quick. And I can imagine if we were playing 5th edition or 3rd edition or whatever, like it would be, we'd get less than that.
I never played
3rd
3rd edition. That was in the period when I had gotten out of gaming for a while. But I bought some of the 3rd edition books. I even have somewhere here. I got a 4th edition core set that I bought. And I looked through them. And I looked through 3rd edition, and I started seeing feats and all this stuff. And I'm like, this ain't the game I remember. And then, of course, I put them away. Then 4th edition came out. I opened those books. I looked at it. I closed those books, and that was it. I never even finished reading them.
Was a board game masquerading as a role-playing game. And it's a great board game, which is why to this day it still powers their board games.
Yeah.
It's a great board game. It's just a terrible role-playing game.
Right.
Yeah. But that's, and in 3rd edition, I thought was fine at lower levels, and
high levels,
it's a problem in higher levels. Whereas, with 5th edition, even at lower levels, you have too much, stuff, to do and, on your turns and stuff. But, so we're just past 3 hours. I know we could probably just, talk until we're all asleep here, but, what, Jason, I guess, is there anything that you want to, anything else that you want to talk about or plug, or because you're the guest? So
I have said a lot about my games, and I hope people will go to elflair.com and check them out. I really do, because frankly, I could use the money, and my business could use the money. I had to actually, I wanted to do 3 conventions this coming year, and I had to turn down Gamehole because I just didn't have the money to pay for the table and the hotel room. So
Yeah.
I'm going to be doing EggCon in July, and I will be doing Page next January. I'll be there as Elflair Games, both cons. So hopefully,
what are you doing in June? Do you have any plans for mid-June?
I have no money in the bank to pay for a hotel room or a con table in mid.
Well, well, I mean, there's a convention organizer I know that's that has a convention in June.
Talk to me off
But,
stream, and we'll see what we can.
Yeah, we'll talk.
Yeah.
No, we'll talk. I
Because
don't wanna
I
hold
would
you
not
on
be
stream.
opposed to doing another con if I can afford it and I can work it out. I would not be opposed. So talk to me off stream, and we'll see what we can do.
All right, yeah, and we'll talk
Yeah.
about
Well,
it.
I'll just throw it out there. Last year, the first year was a great time. It really was. It was.
Yeah.
Oh, thanks,
It
Mike.
was fun. It was,
It
a
was
small
awesome.
con, but it was a lot of fun. I think this year's going to be even better.
This is where all my gray hair came from. Was running the convention last year.
Well, listen, you didn't
So-
do too bad since the first year was a success. You didn't lose money,
Yeah.
Right?
which
That's
is
everything.
No, we barely broke even, which is
but hey,
fantastic.
breaking even on your first year is
Yes,
something.
that's a big feat.
So
Yep. No, we did good, and then this year's looking even better. But yeah, cool. So yeah, no, we'll talk. So yeah, I guess if that's all we got for Jason, thanks for coming.
Sure, thanks for having me.
We'd love to have you on again sometime.
Anytime.
We can complain some more about WotC, and no, I mean, just talk about anything, gaming in general, and all of that. And I'd love for you to have my back more often on the D6 system, so I'm not alone against these guys. But
If we do it again, I'll bring in all of my Star Wars books so I can show Jason and prove that I have all of the old deeds.
I believe
you got all the
man.
cred, yeah.
well, I just
So-
every
No, it's
once in
cool.
a while I just like to torture Jason by going, "Hey, look at all that fantasy
Look at all that
game
garbage
stuff."
That's some
Fancy
fine
like stuff,
kindling
yeah.
you've got there, sir.
I agree. We agree on that one.
Hey, yeah, but in my own defense, it was all given to me for free. We played one session of it, and that's it.
Yeah. So, yeah, they played one session about a month and a half ago. They're still trying to adjudicate the first die roll.
No,
What's
we
this
played-
blue one do?
That's
Listen, no,
No,
we
I
played the
know,
starter
I know.
box for Edge of Empire. That was like boom, boom,
Yeah,
boom. It went
yeah.
through good, but
It's good. The starter box is
but
actually
remember, I had one
Yeah.
player at the table, 4 players, and one of them at the
good.
table.
No,
that,
I know.
Like literally 15 minutes before the end of it, one combat left, and he's like, "Yeah, I gotta go, guys. This isn't for me." I'm like, "Oh."
Agile, find me somewhere. I don't know, the convention page, Facebook, somewhere. Message me here. Send me a message. Get chat with me. We'll work on getting you on and all of that. For your Kickstarter and all that. So yeah, thanks for coming, guys. Thanks everybody in the audience. Thanks for coming. Hey, like, share, subscribe to my channel, Elflair Games, Thunderstruck Workshop, Troll Den Painting, whatever soon to exist channel Jason's gonna make,
Woodworking.
and
Nope.
we'll go from there. Carpentry and Crusades was that?
Carpentry and
the
We
name of
need,
it?
we need another small
So-
YouTube channel like we need another BX clone.
We do. So, so yeah, but thanks everybody for coming, and we'll see you guys on the other side. Take care, everybody.
You know.
Yeah.